When I dream about you dancing, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lara FM, episode 16A. We are talking about Int Ranch, the Int Ranch, Gold Base, the Int Base, parents, cadets from Happy Valley, or whatever you want to call that Int Ranch facility. Thank you all for being here early in the chat. Thank you, Joni Cummings, as usual. We got some very special guests here today. So before I continue on my little splooge, we're just gonna send them up on the stage. Okay, we have our one and only Amy Scobee. Hi, Amy.
Hello.
We're back
wearing black.
Yes, it's either goldenrod or black, right?
Yeah.
No, you need to undo it more. It's not out 2D enough.
It's really low.
It's not 2D flowing. We need to add more 2D flow. There we go. That's a little more out ethics.
Here, let me put the mic right in front of it, right?
Good. And then, okay, so this is the... then we have Jeff Hawkins, who I have been so waiting to talk to.
Yes.
And I cannot believe he's made it. And here he is. Hi, Jeffrey.
Yay.
Hey, Lara and Amy.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you both for being here. But this is just incredible to have you guys here on this subject, talking about the Gold Base, since you guys both were there at the Gold Base for so long. And you also know a lot of the parents and the staff and the people who are there. So this is just super freaking awesome that I even have this ability to have you guys here together on this fine, wonderful afternoon or wherever you are. Good morning. Jeff's like, I just woke up. What do you mean?
I got a notice that there was going to be an interview with Jeff Hawkins. So I thought,
you're like, I better show up.
I better show up to that. Yeah.
Well, you should show your T-shirt there, Jeff.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I cannot believe this. Look at how amazing
Straight out
that
of Scientology.
Straight out of Scientology. Jeff, I need like 1,000 of these.
I know.
And it would be so cool to have them. I mean, that's just a great. I can't believe you just got that printed. You don't have like 5 of them laying around.
No, this is a one-off. Yeah.
I'll put it.
Wow.
I'll put it in my fourth wall for anybody who wants a
literally.
straight out of Scientology shirt.
Yeah, that's so freaking awesome.
That's nice.
That's so freaking awesome. I was like, what is he wearing now? Good. Black and goldenrod is the way we go, right? It's either white, black, or goldenrod.
Right.
It's got to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to change 3 times before she accepted what I was wearing.
I was like, blue, navy blue is for the sea and the free winds. We are not on the ship right now. We are all out ethics.
Goldenrod.
Goldenrod
Black
babies. Real nice, fresh black ink. Oh, wow. This is so fun. Okay, good. Okay, well, what I was gonna start off with is kind of, I guess we'll start with my family, obviously. Obviously, not obviously, just because I know Jeffrey himself definitely knows my mother, and Amy definitely knows my dad. They both know my parents, but they both have individual connections with my father and my mother at different times and throughout their lives. And it's pretty insane. It's pretty crazy. The amount of time that Amy was on the RPF 3 or 4 times, and the amount of jobs and the amount of so there's no way that it's almost impossible to not know who was at the Gold Base at the times. Even if you were on a completely different job, there's only a certain amount of people allowed at the base, period.
Yeah. Everybody pretty much knew everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Especially, when you're in personnel, everybody.
I was going to say, you must have just known everybody. I mean, whether you knew them personally, Amy, or not, you were in personnel, so you just knew them by name or not. And which is really good that we're specifically going to be talking about the Int Ranch cadets and parents and kids like that, because even if you didn't know them personally, you still know, oh, so-and-so was so-and-so's parents and da-da-da. Because, and that's the whole point of this. We want to talk about the kids of the Int Ranch. We want to talk about their parents, what positions, jobs they've held, in case there are other people, say, for example, you know, my non-Scientology family members, either my dad's side or my mom's side is trying to get information even through my channel and is just trying to, you know, there's so much things that you'll say or, you know, give people that are watching about their parents information that is even the smallest thing feels so good to hear or to know. You know, like, for example, on the last, you commented, Jeff, that's how we got you in here. You commented on my live channel that you would go down and check up on my mom, you know, in the video editing librarian. And I remember that. I just remember my mom would always be in a sweet conversation. You were always brought up. Oh, yeah, Jeff Hawkins, you know. And so it's not that me and you got to know each other well, but I do know that my mom and you had a very close relationship, whether it was friends, Sea Org, or, you know, just being nice to each other. I just know that you did because I would hear your name all the time.
Yeah. Well, both your mom and dad were part of my Dianetics campaign unit. And they were just fabulous, you know.
So that must have been, was that at Gold Base or was that before Gold Base?
That was before Gold Base. We were in LA.
That's wild. Okay, so I have a question from my other interview. I saw a picture of my mom in like a blue, you know, the tie blue skirt uniform. And people said that that must have been because she was on a mission or something like that. But I was wondering if that was just her getting prepared to go to the Gold Base with my dad, or do you know what was happening that, or was there a Dianetics mission going on at that time? And maybe they were on it before they went to the Gold Base?
No, what that would have been. I mean, the blue shirts.
It said Golden Era. It did say, I zoomed in on her post badge, and it just said Diane Anderson, Golden Era Productions, but that was it. It just, you know, I guess they didn't want people to know the titles, or if she was just on a mission, that kind of would make sense. Yeah,
it's hard to say. Well, the Dianetics unit never went to the Int base. It was disbanded before that. And we were just part of the marketing organization.
So I'm assuming they used the Dianetics campaign people back later up at Gold Base or something?
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Yeah. So, and so how long were you running the campaign for? Or like how long were you guys working on this?
Well, we started in, I think it was 82, we started researching and surveying and putting the whole campaign together. And we ran that campaign until early 1989 when we went to the base. And after that, there really was no more Dianetics campaign.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense just in terms of times. You know, I was born in 1986 in Hollywood at the Wilcox Hotel, which is now called the Mama Shelter Hotel, which is very ironic. The Mama Shelter. Mama, I need my shelter. Where are you?
Totally.
My brother was at the Wilcox.
Who's your brother?
Kimball Hawkins.
Kimball Hawkins. He was there or born there, or he was just there running?
No, he lived there. Do
you know what floor or room or?
It was a corner room on an upper floor. That's all I remember. I went to see him one time there.
And he was in the Sea Org, I'm assuming, right? Your brother?
He was in the Sea Org, and he had 2 kids, and they were expecting a third. And so they decided to route out because that's no place to raise a kid, you know?
Okay, so I have a question. I mean, I don't have a question. I kind of have a comment. I kind of wonder why some parents thought, like Biddy Miscavige and her kids, right? Or Ryden Arbuckle's parents, or my parents, for example. Like, why did some parents think, oh, okay, this might be a good, great place for my kid to be, or I'm going to be reasonable enough to let them be here, and then some didn't, you know? Like, for example, your brother was like, no, this is no way to, you know what I mean? And I don't believe that. I think L. Ron Hubbard made the rule. I'm assuming it was L. Ron Hubbard But I'm assuming L. Ron Hubbard made the rule that no kids was after 1986, which was kind of around when I was born. So I'm sure by 1989, they were kind of saying no kids, like that wasn't really a thing. What are you thinking about, Amy, around that time?
Well, it wasn't L. Ron Hubbard that said no kids. It was David Miscavige.
That's what I was wondering. I was like...
He wrote the issue, he had the issues written by Guillaume, but it was totally his orders. And, and then everything had to change with regard to who could be recruited in the Sea Org and the age of any children coming in. I believe they had to be a certain age, like 12 or 10 or something like that, before they could come in, so that we didn't have to, or they didn't have to be responsible for raising young children.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was probably in the late 80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by that time. I think it was already considered to, like, it's not it's kind of, a distraction or other fish to fry or whatever. Right. If you're here to be in the Sea Org, you're here to be in the Sea Org, and kind of the kid is not the priority.
Right. Not at all.
You might have known my brother's oldest. He was named Morgan or Shuey. Mostly Morgan then, I think.
Okay. Does he have a different last name now?
Well, now he's Hawkins.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I was just... You know what's funny, Jeff? I used to think that there's a kid at the Int Ranch named Devonna Hawkins. And I used to think that you and her, or that you were her dad for a little bit or something. I just thought Hawkins. Do you know the Hawkins, Devonna Hawkins?
Her mother, Joanne Hawkins, was also one of my staff in the Dianetics unit. And people used to see her name and they'd say, "Oh, are you married to Jeff?" And then she would say, "No, he's my dad."
That's funny.
So for years, even after we stopped working together, I would always call her daughter and she would always call me dad. Yeah. So
that's really cute.
Devonna would be, I guess, my pseudo grandkid. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I wasn't totally wrong about that, and I'm glad you at least knew her. I'm not just like,
oh,
Devonna, I know your dad. She was like, no, you don't. I was like, oh, I know Jeff Hawkins.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really cute. Okay, wow. So that's interesting. So I was going to say, that even fills up a little bit more information of kind of like the people who ended up at Gold Base, whether it was in different organizations, CMO or whatever. They kind of had this other pre-life or pre-post down in Los Angeles, kind of preparing or building you up to go to Int Base, right? Did you feel like you had that, Amy, as well?
No, I was at the Int Base wanting those people to come up. And also
where did you come from before you went to the Int Base, Amy?
I was at the Flagland Base.
Okay, so you were already, wow, that's so interesting. So you already...
I joined the Sea Org in '79, so I'm old.
Anyway,
he's
butt.
older. He's older.
I joined in '71.
There you go.
Wow.
But the first place they sent me was Copenhagen, Denmark. And then I went to the Flagland Base, and then I went to LA, and then up to the base, and I arrived at the Int Base in 1983. So
wow.
That's when,
so you were really there, Amy, from I would say the beginning, like of the
20
of the Gold Base. Like before you, Amy, was the Gold Base something else, or did you guys just sort of buy the land, or not you, but I'm saying Scientology.
So my husband was there before going even onto that property. He was in the other property, Palm Springs or whatever. And then they got that property and he was working on the renovations of it to set it up because it was like an old spa and resort type of scenario. So they did a lot of renovations to set it up as the Gold Base, and it just evolved. It was 20 years from when I got there to 20 years later. It didn't even look remotely the same. So, because we did renovations on it nonstop for 20 years, but yeah, I remember about the marketing people coming up lines. I have a whole story with Jeff.
Let's talk about it. Tell it, Amy.
I used to be in personnel, and I was either. There's a thing in Scientology or in the Sea organization about sending missions out, right? So you always and you can just take anybody who's qualified, and so I would take people and send them out on missions around all over the place, and I always had to find resources for that. Anyway, nobody refused. It's just like as a Sea Org member, that's when you're assigned something, you just do it, right? And so I didn't ever experience anyone refusing an assignment. And I was then charged with getting a marketing executive international. My dogs are going crazy. So Jeff was the commanding officer of CMU, Central Marketing Unit, in the trailers, just freshly up from LA, and so he was, running that whole unit.
So there was the CMU was down in Los Angeles, and it was in trailers. I remember something like this. Jeff, I'm just muting you because you don't have a microphone, and so the back air around you is causing like a little. No. Okay. But it's okay. It doesn't do it when you're talking. It's just when either Amy or I are talking. It's picking up your back air. So
I think that's my dogs.
No,
that's my
honey.
dogs.
It's not.
It's
I
not?
heard. No. Look,
Okay.
Jeff's muted and he sounds fabulous now. Just
okay,
kidding,
good.
So,
Thank you for coming on the show.
But yeah, Jeff, you are muted. Just kidding. So when I know Amy's telling the story, I'm muting you and unmuting you, but I will don't worry about that.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. So I don't know how they were set up in LA, but when they came up lines, and Jeff will be able to add to this, but when they came up lines, they had temporary trailers behind what's by the music studio. So it was set up there temporarily, which all
At
the temporary
Gold?
stuff. Yes, at Gold.
So it's kind of like
offices.
they really were shuffling up the trailers kind of from LA, how they were, to the Gold Base to get settled eventually at Gold Base.
I don't know. Did you have trailers in LA, Jeff?
No, we were in the big blue building.
Okay, so this is making sense because my mother was in the big blue building. That's what I mean. So she was doing the Dianetics campaign and all that. And that picture, I see her with the donuts and the cake, with her uniform. It was probably when things weren't as intense, obviously, because you weren't at the Gold Base yet.
Right,
so
yeah.
couldn't have been that intense.
Just wait until you come up to the Int base.
Yeah.
Things are going to change. So
I ran my unit.
You what? Sorry, we couldn't.
I ran this unit kind of loosely. I wasn't, hammering on people to get the stats up and all that sort of thing. I made sure people had time off and they had sleep and all this sort of thing.
Yeah, you see, this is why I also think that people like Diane, my mom, respected and really cared for Jeff. Like, I had never, even as a child, Jeff, or even knowing you just in my ethereal, memory or whatever it is, just Jeff Hawkins, I never ever assumed or heard Jeff Hawkins yelled at somebody. Jeff Hawkins is an asshole. Not fucking once. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there is something super sweet about you, Jeff, about having a normal, what do you call that? Like humble composure and being able to just get along with everybody. It's people like you, Jeff, who if my mother sees us all talking right now, she might have a little bit of change of heart. She might think out of COB's box, She might just a little bit.
Yeah. So Jeff was pretty newly up to the Int base. I don't know if you'd ever been up there before or not, but
I had been. I was coming up weekly for meetings with Exec Strata and CMON.
Right. Yeah.
And what was your position, Jeff? Your job position?
Oh, when we were in LA, I was just part of the marketing organization. And then shortly after we came to the base, Bill Dendu blew. And so Ronnie Miscavige put me on as the CO CMU. And that's probably the time you were talking about, Amy.
Yes, it is.
CO.
You were the CO of CMU. And what was Ronnie? Because Was he marketing executive? Because I had to fill marketing executive, I thought. And I asked, what job did I ask you that I wanted you to do? And you said no.
I don't recall. Yeah, Ronnie was MEI.
Books exec.
Books exec. Yeah,
that's what it was. That's what it was. Yes.
No way was I going on that post.
That's what it was. I needed a books executive, and because
but why?
you had sold,
don't books make booms, Jeff? Who
came
up with that? Who came up with that campaign? Books make booms. Was that my dad?
LRH said books make booms.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Said books make booms, and nobody took him seriously until our campaign. And we did sell books, and we did create a boom. So,
was it like a big boom from all the books being burned in the volcano? Boom!
That should have been.
Yeah, that would be a great anti-advertising campaign. Books make booms, and it shows Dynetics books. Yeah, going into the bomb or the shredder.
The colors. Guess who designed this book cover?
I can only imagine. It probably was the one. You know what? It looked, obviously Jeff, but it does look like a mixture. I wanted to say, and I didn't want to insult you. It does look a mixture like a Scientology kind of book. Like, hey, right? All those very similar colors. And Dynetics and volcano. Yeah. So I was like,
I've got the same colors. Same colors on my book. Yeah.
Jeff, I need your book.
Yeah, it's a good book. Really good
I'm
book.
like, look, I've never been a book reader. Thanks, Mom, and thanks, educational life of my own beautiful. I bet you I would have been a deep book worm, but they never gave us that time. Yeah. But so, like, literally the majority of the books I have are all anti-Scientology books or something that's healing of families or narcissism or whatever. So, yes, I'm very happy to keep a book that I enjoy. I love that you have the bag, Cadet. Catherine Spino is one of my best friends. Yes, look, Jeff, he's so up with it.
Yeah, there we go.
He's up with the program. And did you ever get Jenna's original book, Beyond Belief?
Yes, I've got her.
See, Jeff's got it.
So good.
Because why wouldn't you write? You knew everybody there. So well, okay, Amy, finish your.
So I go to see Jeff. This is probably the first time I'm really meeting
Jeff's
you.
Saying
right?
No way, hell no to the books post, right?
He's not indoctrinated yet into how we operate at the Int base.
He's not allowed to just say no.
I don't think I ever got indoctrinated.
Okay, well, I go down there and I said, I need you to go on as books executive, and we need to get you replaced. So who do you select of your staff to replace you? And you said, I'm not going to do it. And I said, well, you're the named person, so you are going to do it. No, in fact, you took a pencil and then bit and said, I'm not going to do it. And I thought, oh, my God. Who is this guy?
That was probably the first and only time Jeff got mad.
Do you remember that, Jeff?
And he didn't throw chairs or hit anybody. He just broke a pencil.
I just broke pencils. Yeah, I didn't break people.
No. But David Miscavige, he was David Miscavige's punching bag, and I witnessed that myself. Right, Jeff?
Yep.
Yeah. Up across the conference room table, landing on him, struggling, choking him, pulling his shirt apart.
So this is David Miscavige doing this to Jeff Hawkins.
Yep.
And Jeff, is there, not to be like, bringing all that up right now, but like, was there ever a moment I can't help but didn't my mother or other Sea Org members see this happening?
Oh yeah, there was a full conference room of people, most of exec strata and CMO Int and some gold people. Yeah.
I just can't believe this. So here we are. We have a group of dedicated people who think have highest, most ethical, care and reason for having the positions and doing the things they're doing, clearing the planet, right? And here now we're all out, and even my mom and I'm a declared, and my mom isn't once thinking that's true. David Miscavige slammed Jeff Hawkins across the fucking table, and like all these things. So you know what I mean? Like, this to me is such an intense, abusive relationship that this man, David Miscavige, has a lingering control over everybody, whether you're an abuser yourself or not. In fact, if you're not the abuser, or you're kind of, nice and humble, as most people would call Jeff, you're gonna get immediately, constantly abused by David Miscavige.
Well, the other reason why David Miscavige constantly abused him, but the other reason specifically is because he had everybody on the entire base take IQ tests. And Jeff was, one of the very few at the very top. There were like 3 or 4 people who scored the highest. 2 people.
I was number 2 on the base.
Wow. Yeah. Who was number 1? Mike Rinder?
No, Francois Lalouette.
Francois. Wow.
Yeah. Francois. That sounds familiar.
My husband, Jim, was in the top 5 too. And of course, then he was a target. Jeff was a target. Mike was all these people who were intelligent, smart people, the smartest on the base, were smarter than him. I bet you he did his IQ and it was below 75. Anyway.
Oh, I'm sure. He absolutely hated anyone who was smarter than he was, or more popular than he was, or more able than he was.
That is Phil.
I was going to say,
your dad.
I mean, honestly, I was always felt to think, because I didn't go to a school in the outside world, and, I just assumed my mom and dad have always been in the Sea Org and Scientology. I never thought they were dumb or not educated. I just thought, I just thought we're not as smart as all these other people, I just thought that. I really did. And I can't tell you how happy my heart feels to think that now that actually I have family members who are little geniuses and are really good with money, and I'm like my uncle and all these things. And I'm just like, it makes me really upset that my mother and father, very much specifically because of their mind control, ways, I wasn't even allowed to be connected to my non-Scientology family members. I wasn't allowed to make a phone call to I wasn't allowed to have a relationship without my mom being involved. So it's been a really hard, obviously a hard time for just second gens and kids from parents in the Sea Org to be out here in the real world. But then even going through all this new SPTV and all this stuff and this information, it's so upsetting, and then so it just also is so clarifying how poisonous and disgusting Scientology is, and the group and the Sea Org and David Miscavige, so it's just, at the same time it heals and I feel good to have the information, but at the other times I'm just going what the fuck? How come my own mother didn't give me music lessons or ballet lessons? Why? Where did my care go?
Yeah.
I didn't deserve that.
No, nobody deserved
my brother
what
didn't
happened
deserve
at the Int Ranch. I mean, you guys were 4 years old and you arrive and then you're put to work. I mean, who does that? Yeah. It's unbelievable. You didn't have a childhood. You didn't have a home where you could just okay, let everyone celebrate Christmas together, with family. You were deprived of that completely.
Yeah. And then to have any kind of connection, or to be disturbing my mom, calling her regarding an upset or whatever it is actually creating N theta or, distraction to her and her posts. So there's already this distance of I'm not allowed to tell her a lot of things about how I'm feeling or what's going on. But then I'm also not allowed to love the things that I think I would love. I wasn't allowed, she didn't show me her ballet pictures often because she saw how mesmerized I was by them. She didn't want, it's so weird. She's so loyal and so dedicated to the Sea Org and David Miscavige at this point. And nothing can really break that, which is so valuable in a human being to have such a loyal friendship and commitment to something. I think that's just great. But it's pretty insane. I don't know what else to say. There's no excuse. There's no words that can go, it's pretty insane. It's, wow, I just can't believe. But it really is just crazy that, a cool little kid like myself who was full of art and love just could have been given some of the basic things that I would have genuinely loved. And it just wasn't done. Like, you know, my mom could have told me about her. My aunt I could have been in touch with my aunt, who's a music teacher in Canada, who's not a Scientologist. There's so many things. And I just was led to believe that I had this whole other life that wasn't real.
Yeah. Man.
So yeah, so I was telling, like, even with Jeff, yeah. Did you finish your thing? The breaking?
Yeah, he broke the pencil. But I was really curious, and I didn't post him, and I didn't ask him for anything after that.
I know. It was I was just refusing any of those postings. I said the last thing that I want is to be an exec strata or CMO Int. I'm just not going there. You know?
Oh man,
you never did you? You never did. Yeah.
No.
Jeff, can I ask you, like, off the top of your head, what was one of the reasons David Miscavige thought in his mind it was okay to be fucking attacking you?
I know.
Well,
like, just one of the things, like, were the stats down? Did a book not get signed? Like, what the fuck? What?
Well, it would just arbitrarily explode. There wasn't always a reason for it.
Face crime.
The one that Amy was talking about, I had written an infomercial for Dianetics. This was the second one that I'd written. I had written one before, and we had put it on the air, and we had sold, I think, 400 or 500 Dianetics kits using that infomercial. And I had just written a second infomercial, and I had consulted with the top infomercial people in the United States. And they had helped me to write it, and we'd gone back and forth and made adjustments. And finally, it was given approval by, no kidding, the top infomercial writers and producers in the United States. Said, this is good, this will sell. I sent it up to David Miscavige. He hated it. And so he calls me into this meeting, and I'm standing, you know, on the opposite side, because he always had to have his theater. He had to be on one side and everybody else on the other, because he was going to do his theater. And he's like, you guys see what this guy's writing? Oh, this is crap, you know. And he was, you know, reading off some parts of it that he thought were horrible and so forth. And I was thinking, does he know how much research and coordination has gone into this thing? You know, he's just dismissing it, you know. And so I wanted to explain to him some of the research that had gone into it and some of the surveys and, you know, the fact that the top infomercial people had approved it, you know. So I said, sir, if I could just, and he goes, there, you see how he talks to me? You see how this guy talks to me? And look at his face. Look at how he looks at me.
Yeah.
And then he just jumped across the table, ripped my shirt, you know, hit me in the face, knocked me to the ground. And I was just like, what the hell is going on?
You landed in my cubby where my desk is, and I was trying to like not pay attention to the meeting because it was a marketing meeting that I wasn't involved in. I'm sitting there, and here comes Jeff with David Miscavige landing in my cubby hole, and cubby hole, is it, or cubby cubicle probably,
Cubicle,
and yeah, and then all of the change is falling out of his pockets, and buttons are popping off of Jeff's shirts, and you know, anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I get a little envelope from Amy with all my buttons and loose change in it. That was so sweet.
Oh God. It's just, I figured since we get allocated like one shirt, you know, I figured you'd need your buttons back.
Oh my God. Boy. But like, that's just insane. So like, just in this example, here's sweet little Amy and sweet Jeff trying to just like, pardon me, sir. Let me show you. It's just so David Miscavige.
I know. The work that you did was incredible.
Yeah, the amount of work that you did, and the fact that David Miscavige doesn't have it in him at all. This is one of the millions things wrong with David Miscavige, but he doesn't even have it in him at all to be like, you know what, I might be wrong. You're right, Jeff. All right, if they're saying it'll sell. That's what we want, right? He can't even have a normal conversation like that. He's a fucking psychopath that in his head, he's like, do you see how he fucking just lightly says, backflashes me or whatever the hell he wants to think in his mind? It drives him insane because he wants people feared by him all the time, and you weren't.
Yeah. One time he came down to CMU and just knocked me on the ground. Oh my God. And then he said, do you know why I did that? And I said, no, sir. He said, to show you who's boss. That's like a psychopath.
Yeah, that's all he is. I mean, you can't even.
Jeff, what did you do? You were just like, okay, sir, I'm sorry. Because a lot of people's responses when David Miscavige did that, and for my own eyes, when I was a messenger in CMOCW, I saw David Miscavige, same thing, jump across the fucking table and choking out Guillaume Lesev.
You saw that?
Yes. I was.
Whoa.
And then they told me, they looked at me, somebody looked at me and was like, you go. Like, you shouldn't have seen that. Go. It was like one of the other execs, and I was like, yes, sir. But I was their messenger every single day on the Lisa McPherson case. So if they needed a stapler, I was running to go get it. I had to be around all the time. Where's Megan? Go send her off to do this. Go get this. Whatever. Shred these papers right now. And it's like Lisa McPherson documents. But what I'm saying is that David Miscavige is not a good man. Like, he's not a good man. He has no empathy in terms of like being wrong about things, like giving somebody else like, hey, good job. You were right. I'm glad I didn't tell you to do this thing because that would have fucked up this whole thing. But then when something is right, he's like, he'll give somebody like barely an acknowledgement of doing it right because he wants them to continuously think, oh, I haven't, satisfied David Miscavige's thing yet. I haven't satisfied his psycho obsession of, because there is no satisfaction. There really is no satisfaction with him. That's the reason he's in the position that he is.
Exactly. There's no pleasing him at all.
No.
And even if you do something good, it's like you're his little bitch. Like, yeah, that's right. My little bitch did that. It's so gross. It's so fucking upsetting. I fucking can't stand it. Like,
and usually, if you do something good, he hates you.
That's what I mean. He's kind of like, oh, I can't trust you because I should be able to rely on you for doing this shit for me all the time, but I hate you because I can't trust you because I can't trust anybody.
Well,
It's a
study. It's a study in being a sociopath, right?
Yeah. It's I hate you because you can do something that I can't do.
Yes. The intelligence, you have an intelligence that he does not. He cannot achieve it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, I didn't want to go deep down that hole, but we did. But this is just one thing where I go, okay, in my personal heart, and yes, I'm thinking of myself and my family and how I felt as a child. In this moment in time, I'm thinking to my mother and father, how do you know this stuff is happening? You know it is happening. And even in your kind heart and in your genuine way of knowing, and even if you really are stuck there, right? I don't see any push from my mother or father about ever being like, David Miscavige is wrong, or that, you're right. Like, you know what I mean? How do you have that, Jeff? You're out, right? How do certain people have this and they don't?
Yeah, it's that time.
Or is it because my mother really is so loyal and dedicated to whoever she says that she's going to be dedicated and loyal to? Or does my mom really not want to see that she was one of those people who did stay with her 3 children and she should have left and done something else, and she chose, I want to say sadly, but it's not just sad. It's horrible.
She and Phil were always very dedicated Scientologists, as I was. You could not find a more
What
fanatical.
What made you so dedicated? Just your personal, what made you personally so dedicated? Like,
I was all in with Scientology. I had gotten auditing. I had, gone clear and gone up to OT3, and I considered that it was all worthwhile and that Hubbard was a genius. And when I was on the ship, I met Hubbard and worked with him. We had some back and forth on some brochures and that sort of thing. So I respected him. And, and I always had this idea that I was going to be the one who, could launch a big campaign and get Scientology popularized and all that. I was as fanatical as you can get, really.
Okay.
Up until
which also kind of makes me connect the depth between my mother and your, friendship. Because if she sees somebody else at the Gold Base who was dedicated and for so long, just like she was, in a Dianetics campaign in the 80s and stuff, it's going to make her stay. She's going to go like, look, Jeff's still here, Anyways, yeah. So I could see why you guys, from the get-go, my mom, whether I like it or not, did try to love with 100% Scientology all the time. Like, she thought if I handle everything with Scientology, no matter what it is, even if my daughter comes up with a new psychosis or whatever it is, she just knows, like, communication is a universal solvent and da-da-da. Like, she just knows. She's just like, oh, she just has an ARC break. And, maybe she, like, man, my mom would say some real fucked up shit with just a few Scientology words that would really hurt deep.
It's a thing that, Jeff, you wrote about, which really helped me. This is early on, soon after you left, about thought stopping.
Yes.
What a good way to spend thought stopping.
Yeah, because right away you have an instant answer for any situation in Scientology. They're not the right answer. They're just not the right answer. They're not listening.
And when my mom does have her own, thought process or something, I've caught her in the middle of when we were upset, and I said, I don't want to get upset, but we were on the plane back from Canada from her mom's funeral, and we got into it because I'm going to be open and honest as I can and am. I stole $60 out of my grandma's purse because I wanted my extra carry-on bag. I wanted to be able to pay for my extra carry-on bag that had a bunch of fun things that were important to me. Oh, I'm getting emotional. That were important to me, and I just wanted to have them, and I didn't want to deal with my mom being in charge of it. I don't know what it was.
What you could have or what you couldn't have.
Yeah,
right.
and I just thought, if my grandma wanted me to have all this, she would have given me this $60. I justified it in my head. That's what, of course my mom made me believe. But I justified it in my head, thinking like, okay, then it's okay if I steal that money. It was just, grandma's passed away. So in my eyes, I'm thinking like, okay, good. Like, nobody's going to even note it. Yeah, for sure. I was thinking nobody's going to notice that because they weren't looking in her purse. They're trying to assess everything else. So anyways, that turned into me being excited, with my carry-on bag, and I told my mom, "Oh, don't worry about it. I have money. I think I told her my friend's gonna put some money in my account so I can pay for it." I was already sort of annoyed at her, just because earlier, not even before that. Oh, let me mute you, Jen. Not even before that, like not even a few hours before that, we were like staring in a mirror, and I was telling her like, "Mom, how do I had acne." And it was just from my trauma and stress and not knowing how to care for myself, like literally, and just having so much PTSD and worrying, like, boom, stress. That's all it fucking was. And go to WeSpa. Anyways, and I was just asking her, Mom, how do you, did you have this problem when you were young? Like, what the hell? I'm like, I don't do drugs. I was thinking like, I'm not, I'm a wild one and I'm out in the outside world doing whatever I want. But I was and she was like, I know. Her response in the mirror looking at me was, I know, you look like a meth head. And my eyes just welled up. I was like, how? do you even know what meth is? Like, I was just so hurt. And I also was just I was just like, can you go? I need to go to the bathroom. And I could feel my, eyes watering up. And I was just so mad. Like, can you go out? Like, shoving her out the door. Like, I need to go to the bathroom. She was like, whoa. And she thought it was kind of funny. And it was not funny to me at all. Especially because my brother wasn't there. Because my brother was having an addiction to his own shit. So I was just like, it wasn't funny at all. And so then I shut the door and I cried and was really mad and had to just kind of pretend that I wasn't upset and wipe the tears and pretend I was just going to the bathroom and whatever. Anyway, so things like that. And then I took the money and then I was walking to my aunt's car to put the bag in the car. And I was like, okay, we'll wait. My mom's in the bathroom, okay, we'll wait for you outside. So oh, sorry, I didn't mean to make this a long story. But so I go to put the bag in the trunk and I close the back seat and my aunt's like, okay, good. My dad's sister, who's a non-Scientologist, was like, okay, good. Well, look at that. Isn't that fun? You got yourself a few things. Like she's telling me like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, and I was telling her about this snake ring or something that Grandma, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to wear that ring or something. And I look in the corner of my eye and my mom is walking like a fucking Sea Org member, like ethics officer storming. And I'm like, oh no. I just, in my heart, whoosh, my heart just sunk. And I just knew, oh my God, she knows I took the money. Then later I saw a therapist. Oh, then it was just like, she was like, you come here right now. You give me that $60. And I was like, okay, I was like, fine, I'll give it to you. I was just so in shock and like shocked that she caught me and whatever. And then I just felt bad that I stole money from my grandma. I just felt like shit. And so she takes the money and goes and puts it back. Later, I talked to my therapist. And I was learning about narcissism and da-da-da-da-da and all this stuff. And I was like, there was so many things like she had mentioned, like, why did your mom know that you were going to take that money? And I was like, what do you mean? Why are you saying that? They're like, your mom already knew you were going to take the money before you took the money. How did she know to go look at the purse? How did she know to look? Like maybe your mom needed the money. So anyways, it just went, oh my God. My whole life, my mom always has like made me feel like either I was a thief or, how did you get that? If I didn't give it to you, it felt like that. And so when my mom did give me something, it felt so loving and oh my God, she knows exactly what I want. So there's mixed feelings. I didn't want to go down a long thing, but there was definitely a thing of like, even where my grandma, I wasn't allowed to be connected to my grandma. I wasn't allowed to just call her. I had to talk to her with my mom on the phone. Oh, you called your grandma? Why? Like, it was like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that without me. I need to make sure no out PR happens. Like, that's how it was the whole time. So anyways.
Yeah. You don't live a normal life. There's nothing normal about Scientology, especially the Sea organization. Just nothing.
No, absolutely not.
Did you know anything, Jeff, about my mom or dad when they were leaving Canada and stuff like that? Did you hear about them when they were leaving Canada?
I didn't know them that far back.
Okay, so then you did meet them in Los Angeles during like the
in Los Angeles, yeah. And I forget how they became part of the unit, but I used to get people just walking into my unit and they would say, I hear you're doing a big public campaign for Dianetics. And I'd say, yeah, that's what we're doing. And they'd say, I'd like to join your unit. And I'd go, good, sit down over there. That's your post. That's, you answer to this person and blah, blah, blah. And then when their senior showed up, I would just say, oh, no, they're working for me now. They're not working for you anymore.
Right. You lost your person.
I think that's why L. Ron Hubbard had to write the issue Quicksilver, because in the earlier days, people would take people off of different jobs and stick them on other jobs. And so he wrote a policy called Quicksilver that you couldn't do that. You had to have personnel approval.
It was called Quicksilver?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like an old like skateboarding or surfing brand.
It's more like Mercury, you know, type of that you slide around from place to place, and so
And
you called
that's a bad thing, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're supposed to like get on a position and be on it stably, and not somebody can't just come and drag you into something else, you know?
Yeah.
But no, Jeff got away with a lot because he.
But that's okay. But wait, before you say that, Amy, people could say that about you, and also people could say that they feel so bad that you also went through similar things, that David Miscavige was treating you like shit. So you can tell Jeff in the position, you fairly can tell Jeff in the position that you were raised in the Sea Org and everything, that yeah, maybe Jeff got away with a lot of things in the position in your prison, like you in our jail. Maybe, you know, he hit his intelligent mind and his humorous mind and his loving mind, you know, where, yeah, he was in his own right or his own natural doing was able to just, you know, get away, so to speak, with things. But at the same time, Dave Miscavige beating the fuck out of him and holding a fucking umbrella of fear around him all the time and disagreeing with all the products and results he's giving. So it just is such a turmoil. You know, and it's a similar thing when people or cadets say, oh, immediately, actually, most people watching and stuff will say like, oh, I'm sure Jenna Miscavige got treated a lot better than everybody else. And I started to go, what does that mean? Because in some time, you know, if she's getting treated well, that means she's getting treated even worse on the other side of the sword. And that's what I mean with Jeff. Like, I feel so fucking bad. I mean, I feel bad for my little self. I feel bad for little Lara, Megan Anderson. I feel bad for Jeff Hawkins. I feel bad for Amy Scobee when I think that in the moment you were actually trying to do something good for David Miscavige and for Scientology, he's actually treating you like shit, like a little child would be to somebody abusing a child. Like, look, Mom, I brought you flowers. You fucking rip those flowers out of there without asking me. Go throw them. Like, what does that do to somebody's creative heart and their soul? So that's what I'm trying to get at, Jeff.
And I was curious so Jeff, so her parents were with you down in LA. Did they come up to the Int base when you came up? They did.
Yeah.
So near the same time this is Phil Anderson and my mother. What was my Phil's post? What was my Phil's post?
I think stayed in CMU.
Okay. That sounds familiar. Okay. That does sound familiar. I do remember my dad having some position in CMU.
Until I ripped him off, because I did. I posted him in Exextra because I couldn't get Jeff.
Okay. Oh my God, that's so funny. Wait, so Jeff was going up. So Jeff and my dad and my mom are all going up to gold, and Amy's already there. And your position, Amy, at this point is to place people on posts and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's your job. You were doing a million things, but when people were coming to the base, that's how you knew when people were coming. You were like, oh, I'm waiting for these people. So when you're waiting, sorry, Jeffy, I'm going to mute you just for that feedback. When you were waiting for them to come up, Amy, was there some kind of like waiting in terms of maybe my mom and dad were finishing up bills in Canada or things they need, or was that already all done? They were turning over their posts in LA or what?
Yeah, everybody who was coming up in that whole CMU, which is the Central Marketing Unit, everyone who was coming finished everything they had to do in LA. And the whole place came as one big group. It wasn't trickle, right, Jeff? It didn't trickle up.
Well, there were about 50 staff in CMU in PAC.
Oh,
14 went to the base.
Oh.
Whoa. So wait, when Amy's talking about a big group coming up, was that 14 people?
14 people.
And so the rest stayed down in LA.
Yeah, they stayed in LA, got reposted or whatever.
You know, so you see how for people watching, how this kind of puts together always a whole connection of when Aaron and SBTV channels are always saying every Scientologist knows every Scientologist. It's because so now Jeff and my mom and Amy have had this and Amy's had relationships with people in Clearwater, Florida before she's gone to the Int base. And so everybody my dad was the exec strata and then he's back at gold and then he was in Canada, Toronto org. So my mother know the people from Toronto org, and that's who the people were when I left the Sea Org, who I stayed with, you know, in LA. And it was just so weird. I'm like, how am I staying with a family that you only knew fucking 25 years ago in Toronto? Like, this is so weird. You know, so like everybody knows everybody. And so this is why it's very special specifically to have Amy and Jeff here, because you both have detailed information about so many, and we're just talking about the beginnings and the structures of getting to the gold base and how that began, because then we're going to start shuffling through names and kids and parents. But I want people to understand, just the beginnings of the gold base. And why should we listen to Jeff Hawkins? Who is he to say, you know what I mean? And now this is all making abso-fucking-lutely a lot of beautiful sense. Like, so thank you, seriously, both of you, for being here doing this.
Yeah. And when Phil came up into CMU, what was his job? I'm just curious. I stole him.
I think he was still on the Dianetics campaign.
He was a marketing manager.
Yeah,
I think he was the marketing.
My dad, a lot throughout my life, throughout my young adult life, from age 4, no, from birth to 13 to 17, my young adult life, because I was never a child. That's why I was being funny. He always would say so many stories of people he's known. Again, talking about Scientologists knowing everybody, but my dad was a really good salesperson. And later, David Miscavige wanted to tell him how horrible he was at it and demoted him and blah, blah, blah. But the reason my dad loved Dianetics, because he thought it worked, and that was his and my mom's big connection, and they met at the Toronto org and blah, 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 blah. But that he was like effective. Oops, I got you. Bless your heart, Jeffrey. Do you like being called Jeff or Jeffrey? Because I like saying either.
Jefferson.
Jeff is fine. Yeah.
Jeff. Is it annoying if I say Jeffrey?
I don't like Jeffrey.
That's so good to know. Because I always say, hi, Jeffrey.
There are 2 people in the world who I allow to call me Jeffy. Ooh. That's my daughter and my granddaughter.
Okay, well, you may not allow me, but I think my tongue might accidentally just be, hey, Jeffy Hawkins. Because I was going to call you Jeffy. Hi, Jeffy. You know? And Jeffrey is not who I know you as. Jeffy Hawkins or Jeff. That's great.
Calls me Grandpa Jeffy.
That's sweet. That is very sweet. Okay, what was I saying before we broke that down?
So Phil, then I believe, so I got him into either Execstrat or the Watchdog Committee. I think it was either the Watchdog Committee for pubs or, in fact, I think that's what it was. I think he was in CMO Int.
What's pubs?
Pubs, publications organizations. Yeah.
Just letting people know.
Yeah, so that they're responsible. The WDC Watchdog Committee would be the most senior management person over a certain sector, and that sector would be pubs, which would be everything to do with books, really. Do you remember, Jeff? I think that's the job I put him on.
It sounds familiar. Was he ever part of Bridge Publications, or is that the same thing or no?
Well, when he was working for me, I used him as the liaison to the PubsOrg sales force.
Okay, so
he
was still doing sales, right? He was still like my whole time as a child at the Int Ranch. I can't even say a child. It's like I'm giving them a false. That is a false statement, Lara Megan Anderson. I was not a child. I mean, legally I was, but the whole time I was there, my mother my mother, for all I've known, was the video librarian or the video editing librarian, like somewhere of the sort. Whatever they changed the title, she was to me always. Is that correct, Jeff? She's always been in video editing librarian, that kind of department.
Yeah, as long as I was there, that was her.
Okay, and she's still doing that, literally, Jeff, today. Jeffy.
Boy.
She's still doing that today.
That is just crazy.
Like
Yeah.
I have, yeah. And did you know? Okay, I was going to ask you, Jeff, before we move on.
Yeah.
So before we start to do a little hustle on all the, I have a question. Should we do a break? Not a break, but like questions, or should we go through a bunch of names? You know, do a chunk of that, and then we could do a part 2 of more cadets and parents because we're gonna have to. There's so much. There's so many kids and so many. Or should we just leave the questions to the very end and just finish these? Okay, good. Let's just do that. Yeah, and we'll catch them all at the end. So Goldie and whoever, if y'all are there, if you have a question or had one and maybe you've already put it up, make sure you put question in caps in the chat so we can answer it and see it really quickly as I scroll through near the end, because there's a lot and I know that, and I really love this, and you guys are freaking awesome, and this is so helpful and beautiful. And if you even just want to comment but you really want to tell us something and you don't want to, I don't want to say you don't want to, if you can't afford a super chat or whatever, or you just want to ask and there's no other reason for it, just put comment in caps, question, or go fuck yourself. Just kidding.
Good instruction.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to ask you these, Jeffy. So, see, it's already natural, Jeffy. One thing I was going to say, well, we will talk about this is, and you can chime in, Amy. I'm not just only talking to Jeff.
Yep.
But so my thing, what I remember is, I can hear my feedback in your.
And why is that?
It's like, Jeff, honey. It's Jeff because he doesn't have a microphone. Yeah. We both have microphones.
Oh, he doesn't have a microphone.
He has his ears, but he doesn't. Yeah. Anyways, it's fine. It's totally working, and I'll get Jeffy a microphone soon, so it's fine. Okay. You're great, Jeff. It's just because, oh, he's so cute. Oh, maybe it's because your headset thing wasn't fully
plugged in.
No, up. Maybe you can, Jeff, put your headset up more toward your mouth. Yeah. Okay. Maybe let's see if that. Let's see. No, it's still doing it.
No, we can still.
It's okay. It's because you don't have a microphone like a physical microphone.
I know. I have to get one.
No. I have one for you because Sweet, he's in the chats. Blow Drill. His chat name is Blow Drill. He gave me a really awesome one, so I may just send this one over to you. So there you go.
Oh, that would be great.
And then you're going to be perfect because you already have your headphones and all that. So, okay, let me mute you just while I ask you, and then I will know when you're talking and all that, so I can undo it. What I was going to say is that what I knew from myself, for my mom specifically, and my dad, that like, as a kid, I thought, oh, my dad has always been in the sales department, or something having to do with promo and marketing, or like something having to do with that, like something having to do with the books, or nothing. He was never like an ethics officer or anything like that. He was never that. Sorry, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. He
right?
Always...
Was he ever, like, even when he was a higher position, it wasn't like an ethics position. It was more like a publications sort of.
Like a pubs thing.
Pubs.
And Phil and I developed a Dianetic seminar package that worked like crazy. And it was never implemented because, well, this is the silly thing is, we would take, whenever anybody bought a Dianetics book, there was a little card in it that said, for more information, send in this card. And they would fill out their name and address and send the card in. Well, we were getting hundreds of those cards every week.
Wait, this was my dad's idea?
No, this was, I guess, Hubbard's idea to put these cards in.
Okay.
And we were getting hundreds of cards every week and sending them out to the orgs to follow up on. And I was told by many orgs that this was what was fueling the boom in the late 80s, was these cards.
I don't know why I laugh. Books make booms.
Books make booms, yeah. So
okay, so yeah, it was creating these booms, meaning big peak in stats. When the books were sold, that's what the boom means. They were creating big booms in the statistics.
Yeah. So a big criticism of my campaign was, well, these people never showed up in the org. So why are we spending all this money? Which was a lie, but that was sort of being used to stop or slow down my campaign. And I said, okay, let's get him into orgs. So we surveyed these people to find out what they wanted to know. And most of them wanted to know how to use Dianetics, because even after they'd read the book, they had no idea what to do. So
isn't that interesting? I read certain parts of Dianetics, and I specifically went to the part that's supposed to teach you how to do it. Because when I did leave, you know, and I was smoking my Mary Jane, I was wondering, you know, there's a little insert in there that L. Ron Hubbard says that alcohol has more of an effect on the mind and body than marijuana. And so I thought, oh, wow, I'm really like, I'm right. I smoking my weed. I'm good. You know, like I'm not, maybe I should slow down on the alcohol and just smoke weed. L. Ron Hubbard says it right here. But no, I really was looking for the part, because I was like, look, before I call this cult out and this group out and say it's all bullshit and talk about, actually, I wasn't even attacking Scientology. I was attacking our childhood. That's what I was attacking. Not attacking. I was like, what I'm going to speak about is that my childhood, even just for myself, if I was talking to myself, it wasn't okay for me. I'm a wild, fun artist who has so much energy, who could have done so much, you know, real work for the world. Anyway, so that's why I was, and that my own mother, who was a ballet dancer and all that, you know, didn't even fucking give me any kind of opportunity to do any of that, is kind of so... I could say it's fucked up and selfish of her, but really, isn't that just the Scientology policies and L. Ron Hubbard's behavior, right?
It is,
yeah. So, okay, so what I was saying is that I only knew my dad being in sales and bridge and pub, and you were telling me about that. And the other thing I was going to say is, and I've only known my mother being in the video librarian. So, you know, in my mind, I always thought, even when execs of other parents would come over to the Int Ranch, they would have, you know, their executive kid. They were the kids of some of the kids at the Int Ranch whose parents were in higher, organization. Like they were just higher up on the org board or in higher organizations, but they were still at the gold base. Int base is the gold base. They just say Golden Era Productions, probably just to keep it like, oh, it's just the Golden Era. We're not telling you where Int Base is, but really Int Base is Golden Era Productions, and Golden Era Productions is its own organization, and then there's CMO, and then there's WDC, and then there's RTC, etc. So, but the Int RTC is or was, probably not today, 2023, David Miscavige is on the run, just like L. Ron Hubbard. Yep. But that is still considered right now Int Base. The headquarters are at Gold Base. They're at in Hemet. Anyways, so that's all I knew my mom and dad has put. So this is so interesting just to even hear that, you know, oh, my dad did really well. It makes sense to me now why my dad was always in sales or always talking about, hey, I'm going to sell like 30, watch me sell, you know, 30,000 of these basics. Watch me in the first week. He was really excited because he really truly in his mind, in his old mind of ever joining Scientology or the Sea Org was, this helped people when I first started, and I'm gonna keep doing that forever, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's the Deep Sea Org or the mafia of Scientology, I know that in the end result that I'm producing in his mind is thinking is clearing the planet. So no matter what he's doing, he is clearing the planet and doing a lot, especially if he was really good at it, right?
He was great. He was great.
He was so enthusiastic too.
Yeah. He was, and he could sell to people. He was really good at that. And we set up and piloted this whole seminar package, and we were getting 50 to 100 people over a weekend into hotel conference rooms, and we would have these seminars, and we had the exact pattern worked out. And these people were going into the org, and they were learning how to audit Dianetics, and it was just very successful. And Phil would be the
when you say exact pattern worked out, you and Phil individually notice like, hey, we got this pattern and it's working, or this pattern that L. Ron Hubbard put together for the way to sell?
No, it was something we put together that we were pretty sure.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean. David Miscavige didn't like.
No.
You know, people coming up with their natural artistic ways of, hey, business, you know, business is teaching people how to do business is very artful. There's a very fun, intelligent skill on all these levels where you're learning, and you can learn, like, you know, what is going to be good for my music? How can I really, I mean, I haven't been doing it. By the way, just to answer somebody, go, Lara, how come you have, I would imagine you had thousands of millions of views on, and I was like, I've never been promoting my music videos at all. They're literally just my little fun thing. I'm a performer, I'm an artist, I'm a rocker. Now I can do something with it now that I'm opening up about my life and stuff, for sure. So if you guys have suggestions, great. If you want my music in TV or on your next amazing music video or not music video, on your next video or film or whatever, yes, I would love to put it in there. If you want to write new stuff with me, yes, hello, I'm the best at it. But going back to that, I think that David Miscavige specifically did not like people making their own creative, possible good advice or ideas, because it made him look like not efficient or like he didn't come up with it.
Yeah, exactly. It was from his point of view, people were showing him up. You know.
And you weren't, like, Jeff, you were not. You were just saying, hey, we went through some experts and they even told me, you know, and you're kind of going like, look, I'm not putting you down, sir, at all.
Yeah.
And he still wouldn't take it.
Yeah. So we worked out this pattern, and it was really working like gangbusters. And we were bringing in 50 to 100 people into hotel conference rooms every single weekend. And Phil would run the thing, and he would just knock it out of the park. You know, he was so persuasive. And so I wrote this whole thing up, and I said, we've got everything figured out. The mailings, you know, the format of the so we had everything figured out, every detail. And I submitted this because I wanted to get it put into every org, and it was disapproved. And when you hear the reason, you'll just fall on the. It's
disapproved by Dave Miscavige, right?
I don't know who disapproved.
Oh my God! I think I remember this.
Okay,
I think I remember the reason why.
I'm listening.
Because if they were brought into a hotel, the org couldn't count it on their stats of bodies in the shop. So if it's not a stat, why do it? You know. And that was just so silly. And they said, okay, but you have to do the seminars in the org. And I said, I don't know any org in the world that could fit 50 to 100 people in their public divisions. They just couldn't. And so the whole thing just died an agonizing death, you know? And it was never implemented.
The other thing that marketing submitted to David Miscavige was about the co-audits, and it was disapproved because he said if everyone starts co-auditing, then the professional auditing will be sabotaged, which they pay for. Because he was just thinking about the money, you know. So, he wasn't thinking about dissemination; he was thinking about the money.
And that brings me back full circle to my point about the Dianetics book and my dad and you being really good, and my mother being really good with the dissemination and putting these things out, and you physically saying, hey, Phil's really good at this, and he's so, you know, convincing, or whatever you said. And it's because, like, for me, I feel like I'm convincing because I know I'm like, no. I guarantee you this is the truth because I only speak the truth. My heart speaks the truth. So he probably was very similar even to me, but thinking, you know, Scientology is my truth and da-da-da, right?
Yeah.
I don't think David Miscavige, I mean, I know now. This is like so theta, as we would say. So theta to hear because it makes so much sense now. It actually makes so much sense that Why would 20 years later, David Miscavige be okay with my mother and father being together, married for so long when he can't even have a good relationship his own, right? But being married, being very in love and connected and having children, after he separated them. So my father got separated for 10 years, like before, and he was trying to go back to gold, was sent to the RPF by David Miscavige for 6 years, you know, all this fucking shit. And he was trying to go back to, and I told him, I said, you know, my dad came to give me an ethics handling or, okay, I'll write a report and figure out why I'm not on the bridge. And I made a joke and I said, yeah, Dad, how are you going to get me on the bridge? How are you going to get anybody else on the bridge these days if you can't even get me on the bridge? And he laughed and he was like, you are my daughter. He said that, you are my daughter. But the other thing is that, oh shit, I lost my train of thought. What I was saying is, I did tell my dad, oh, sorry, I'm going to mute you, Jeffy. I did tell my dad, hey, Dad, you know, why did you get sent to the fucking RPF from Gold Base? Because just because you were the head over the sales people or whatever, who said that instead of 1 million physical copies of all the basics in the warehouse, when David Miscavige, there's 2 million. There was only 1 million. Oh my God, that was a lie. And there was literally, that's not the exact detail of it, but it was something on to that note. It was reported to him by my dad's juniors, like, okay, yeah, we have plenty in stock. David Miscavige can announce this at the event. Like, everything's ready to go. And so he announced 2 million at the event in stock, waiting for. It wasn't that they ran out of the basics or anything. It was that it was false reported to the leader that there was 2 million. I don't know if this is the exact numbers. I'm just giving you guys the idea. But 2 million instead of 1 million. And so my dad and everybody below him and some other people above him were all sent to the RPF. This was like not even 10 years ago.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so then I told my dad, when my dad finished the RPF 6 years later, you know, we're having our own little time. And I'm kind of like, Dad, you know, I think I was 32 or something at the time. And I'm like, I'm an adult now, Dad. Like, you know, you're talking to me, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I'm not a Scientologist. I don't believe in this. I do believe in some things. Like, I was like, I do believe, I told him, I do believe the universal I do believe communication is the universal solvent. So I don't understand the disconnection policy of you can't talk to people. I feel like anybody who's capable of handling a suppressive should be able to communicate to that suppressive person and handle them beautifully with communication. I was like just stabbing him with a bunch of things. And then one of the things I said, I spoke to Mike Rinder. You're never going back to gold. And he was shocked. I said, I was in Clearwater with my sister on libs. She was still in the Sea Org at the time. And so he was like, oh, what? Everything I was telling him, he couldn't deny. He couldn't say, that's not true. I'm like, these are all things coming out of the dog's mouth, like the horse's mouth, whatever you want to call it. So I told him, I said, I was just in Clearwater with Mike Rinder's son, Ben Rinder, who refuses to talk to Mike Rinder because he just became a suppressive recently and won't talk to him. And anyways, and I said, Mike Rinder told me David Miscavige will never let anybody go back to Gold Base once he's kicked them off the Gold Base. They never will ever go back. And I said, and I told that to my dad. I said, so you're never going back, Dad? And I wonder if that sinked in a bit, right? So I'm telling him all these things. And then I told him, you're telling me to disconnect from, so Jenna Miscavige, Jenna Hill was one of them at the time. And like, I was like, Jenna's not evil. I said this to my dad. I was like, oh yeah, little Jenna Miscavige from the Cadet Org is a suppressive. I wasn't even attacking Scientology when I was telling him this. I was just saying, I don't believe that Jenna's evil. That's what I told him. I said, I don't believe Jenna's evil. I was like, I don't think Mike Rinder's evil. And then I said, and how come, Dad? And this is where he shut the fuck up. I said, how come, Dad, Mike Rinder got sent to the, or I said, how come you got sent to the RPF, Dad, for this false report? Not an actual physical thing, not you attacking Scientology, not you fucking even cussing out the leader, nothing. I said, you got a false report by somebody else and you reported something and, oh, you know, whatever it is, right? And you and everybody and their mother got sent to the RPF. And I said, when does L. Ron Hubbard get? I said, when does David Miscavige? When does somebody write a report on him and he gets his ethics? I said, if that happened, why didn't David Miscavige? I said, if Mike Rinder's an SP and Mark Yeager, at this time it was Mark, you know, Marty Rathman, sorry, and they were out. And I said, sorry, Jeffy, I'm just keeping your feedback on control. But I said, how come Mike Rinder? So I was saying, if all these people, if David Miscavige sent you the RPF for that for fucking 6 years, and now you're still not able to go to the gold base because of me, because they don't know if I'm fully on course or in good standings, you know? I said, how come David Miscavige, all these SPs that have been out on, you know, under his watch, how come he isn't going to the RPF? How come he doesn't step down? And I said, who puts his ethics in when his ethics are out?
Right.
And he was just like, okay, fine. Eventually he was like, all right, so you're not a Scientologist. Let's just agree on things. So that, and it was kind of like, he was just saying like, what do I need to report back? I get it. He gets it now. Okay. So I know that I said that a while ago, but now today, now that he's still not with my mom, and now I have a PI on them. I hired a PI. It's going to take a minute, but I hired a PI, and I'm figuring out what is actually happened. Are my mom and dad still married? Things like that. Anyway, so yeah. I'm starting to find out. I don't know. I'm starting to realize a lot more than I think. You know, Scientology really wants to hold information from me because they know what I would do with that information if I had known. So, anywho, so yeah, I didn't mean to over talk all that, Jeff, but I just needed to like say all that because David Miscavige, being the little fuck that he is, controlling my mom and dad's literal marriage and relationship.
I know.
And like, who's allowed to go to gold base and who's not, and then leading my dad along thinking he's going to go back to be something good again, you know? It's so fucked up, and I just can't, Jeff.
Yep, understood.
Okay, so I wanted to jump in. We talked about mom and dad for me a lot. Thank you for that, guys, and thank you, Amy. And if anything pops up when we're going through this, let me know. What about Jarrett Anderson? Were you guys ever there? I know, Amy, you mentioned a little bit, but Jeff, did you know my brother at the gold base, or were you already gone by then? Or
what year was he there?
I think you wouldn't know. If you don't know, then Amy, do you know Jarrett Anderson?
Yeah, he was running around the base.
So he's my mom's youngest, or my mom and dad's son, their only son.
You have a picture of him.
I mean, he's the oldest. Yeah, let's see if I can pop it up. I'm going to mute you, Jeffy, or unless you and Amy want to talk, I'm going to mute me so there's no feedback. But yeah, do you let Amy explain to you who my brother is, and I'll pull up this picture.
Yeah, so when she shows you the picture, you'll recognize him. He was running around the base. And
sure.
It's when their cadets actually graduated to come onto the base that were old enough, and everyone's eyes were on them, you know, because they were fresh blood. They were enthusiastic. They were really excited to be there. And I remember Jarrett because he reminded me of Phil, because Phil was always enthusiastic and going straight from A to B, and, you know, very dedicated to what he was doing. And Jarrett was like, he would never go somewhere slow. He was always going fast, and he was just on it. He was on it. And I thought, wow, he's going to be really something someday, you know. You're muted, Laura.
Okay, Jeffy, does he look familiar right here? I don't know if you wouldn't remember him as this look. This was when he was out of the Sea Org, so he looks more like Jared. Gerard Butler. Like a. But anyways,
The name is familiar, but I don't get a picture.
So
of
when
his
did
face.
you leave? When did you leave Gold Base? Maybe I can just.
2005.
He was definitely there while you were there.
He was
yeah.
there. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Let me show you. I'll go back to the old episode we did. Anyways,
because
whatever.
I left
That's
in
fine.
2000.
Okay. Maybe this will remind you. He was an MAA. He was put as an MAA. Fresh. He obviously he's young. He was still like 17 or 16. He was still going back to the Int Ranch to do Sunday schooling, as they would call it, because he was still underage.
Yeah.
But he was an MAA, and then he was put in the galley. He was supposed to go up as an RTC trainee at one point. And then, anyways, he looks like a mini Phil Anderson. People would joke and say that they walked the same, and they're like, oh, there's Phil and Jarrett. Like, yeah. Okay, well, that's good to know. That's fine. I mean, Jeff can't know everything. Okay, guys.
I can't. I try, but I can't know everything or everything.
Okay, and you know what else? You know what I am going to bring up really quick? I wanted to show you guys that I was saving this photo just for this. I wanted to show everybody a photo of me from the Int Ranch of when I was at the Int Ranch, kind of being my ruggy, governess, always in the governess group, and my mom always taking pictures, even if I was a ragged little girl, like, come on, smile. On top of this roof at the schoolhouse, which I think was birthing for you guys, RPFers, way long ago. And then later, like about 6 years ago, when I went back to the Int Ranch for this film that was supposed to come out about the kids, which didn't, but I did take a picture of me being on this exact same spot. And I want to just bring everybody's little memories to this moment right now.
Fun. Oh, cool.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that great? So this was me when I was at the Int Ranch, look at my little grungy little. Anyways, my mom took this picture. I put them side to side, but they're totally. And then I was here, obviously, filming in, 6 years ago. And I was like, wait, I have to get this exact same. And actually, I didn't even know. I didn't know that I didn't remember that I had this picture, I don't think. I think I was just like, oh, I used to sit up here all the time. And then I took the picture, and then I saw this picture later. And I was like, oh, my God, I have to put these back to back. Like the same pole in the back is there.
Yeah,
and everything.
everything's the same.
Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
Yes.
Little me.
That's great.
Little me now and big me now. Like little then, big me now, saying it's okay. I got you, little Lara. Okay. Anyway, so Amy, did you remember my brother as being an MAA and then being busted and was in the galley?
I don't remember the busted in the galley because when you're in the galley.
When did you leave Gold Base?
2003.
So also, my brother was there for those 3 years for sure.
Yeah, no, I think he was in the MAA office.
Yeah.
He was running around making sure that people wrote their daily battle plans and marked their graphs and, the whole daily checklist of basics that he would enforce and make sure it got done.
Did you feel like he was kind of like my dad where he wasn't like an asshole, or did you feel like he's like, you got to really get this done?
I really like his spirit, and I really
my brothers, right?
Yeah, and I really hope that he comes through any hardship that he's going through right now and comes out the other end, because I think he's got a lot to offer this world, honestly.
Oh, me too.
I saw the potential in him and his willingness and eagerness to please, and that's the thing. Like Scientology can take that. Mm-hmm.
Even through his, difficult times, even through when people are manipulating him, he's still doing is trying to please. He's trying to like, hey, I didn't mean to do that, but can I just, or he'll be like, oh, I gave this guy something because I just wanted him to feel good. Like he does have that mom, like how my mom and dad have that weird, look at me, hypocrite. I'm the same way. I love making people feel good.
Anyway, that's what I remember about him.
Yeah, that was my bra. So I'll have other people on that also, like Sterling and people who knew my brother. Maybe I don't know about Sterling, but I mean, I know he knew my brother. I just don't know if they were really friends or if they just were like young, like cadets at the same age, you know? So,
right. Yeah.
So there's a bunch of people I'm going to have on that will be able to talk about my brother and just like our whole upbringing and that crap. But okay, so what about, so we moved from, so my mother, my father, my brother. Did you ever know, off of the Gold Base, did you ever know my uncle, Paul Anderson? He was the senior has-int forever. And
That was your uncle? Yes,
Yeah.
of course I knew Paul Anderson. I had no idea that he was
Paul Anderson is Phil Anderson's brother.
I can see it now.
Wow.
I did never put that together. Oh,
Yeah.
Of course I knew Paul Anderson.
And so he passed away, R.I.P.
Oh.
My only like 5 years ago. They sent him off to another country, as they do with anybody who has breast cancer or any severe thing, to do it properly without psych meds or whatever the hell. And
they usually send him to Mexico because it's cheap and out of sight, out of mind.
But I guess Mexico wasn't far enough now. So
oh really?
Okay, I was gonna say, and then my aunt, I don't think you would know her. But my aunt, Pat Philippi, she was in the Canada Org, and now she is more over the last 8 years gotten really into the Canada Org in Toronto. And because I'm sure my mom, you know, being in the high up position at Gold, or the position that she's in, whether it's high or not,
it's on Miscavige's
It's on Miscavige's lines, exactly. So she now is on Miscavige's lines. So she has gotten more into it and has lost all of her retirement money and went back to work and is back in being the FSM, the field something commanding officer of the field, of Toronto organization. So she's fully in. And my mom, I did find out recently, went through some medical thing, and my aunt, Pat Philippi, is the one that's always there with her, if you know, when she's dealing with things like this.
Wow. Yeah.
So that kind of is fucking shitty. And so whatever she's gone through, she went back to Gold and is back at Gold Base.
Right.
Still.
Yeah. Wow. I wonder what she went through. You don't have any specifics on what she went through?
I do. I have some. Okay. You mean, what do you mean, what she went through in terms of medical?
Yeah. So she had to leave to get her medical handled and then come back?
My mom has multiple things. She has arthritis in her hands and her feet, and she uses her hands so much all day long, constantly. And she's sitting down or she's up on a ladder. So she's never actually relaxing her feet. And so she does have a situation where I want to send like the health, I want to send like public services out there to do a wellness check and just specifically check on all these points that I do know about her. Because my mom's a toughie, you know, she's a toughie. She's going to say, oh no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
You know, my
put it aside.
Yeah. My feet are blue, but that's okay. I'm getting nervous every day. So that's going to help. You know, it's not a joke. She literally broke her foot. Yeah. She broke her foot not too long ago. And she tried to hide it from me when I was in good standing still. And I was like, Mom, why is your leg so blue? And she said, oh, it's just bruised. I broke it a little when I was up on the ladder grabbing some videos. And it's just like, you know, they'll use their medical and all that, you know, the Sea Org, so the individual, my mother at Gold Base, for example, has no idea that she has medical coverage and all this. She doesn't know to what amount. She's just going, oh, I guess, you know, isn't this great? Scientology has something where they will cover it. Which isn't even true. My aunt had to pay for so much of this stuff. And of course she would. That's her sister. She understands her dedication in the Sea Org. She thinks, oh, she doesn't have any money, things like this. So she's going to do it. I will, So my mom has arthritis. My mom was a ballet dancer forever and then stopped right away and joined Scientology in the Toronto Org. And so she has a back problem where her back is just like it just has anyways. So she has to get injections or whatever to keep her back this is all I know. I don't even know if the injections she's getting are right or wrong or what. This is just what I know that she's been doing forever. So not only that, she has arthritis all over her body, but definitely I see it in her knuckles and her hands because she's constantly using them and never relaxing them, never giving them the real freaking medicine they need. She's going to a Scientology doctor in Clearwater. So it's just like, it's just fucking bullshit. And then she's 73 now. It's just horrible. And if my mom and dad are divorced, they haven't been together for sure for the last 10 years. So if they are divorced, then my mom's there by herself. It's just so fucked up. It pisses me off. Everything about it pisses me off.
Yeah, as it should.
Yeah.
And then, so who was the next person you wanted to see if we knew about?
Okay, so now then I wanted to start off maybe with the people that are already speaking out so that we could just give them their benefit of any information they need, right? Let's just go through this quickly, right? You guys are so awesome. We've been doing this for an hour and a half, and I really love you. And thank you, Jeff Hawkins. I cannot wait to fucking pick your ear and give you a microphone and give you everything. When do you need a coffee so that you can be on my live stream at what time? I can't wait because and like people have said and as I thought, you are your humble, calm, sweet self, and I cannot believe that Dave Miscavige, little bitch ass bitch. Like, are you kidding? I could kung fu that fucker with my goddamn ballerina given thigh by my mother muscles. I would high kick him because he's so short and knock him out in one kick. I wish we were able to do that. In the offices when he was doing that, like, whoa, he just went for Jeff, whoop, high kick, ballerina leg. Like, wouldn't that be great if my mom was able to be like, oh, excuse me, David Miscavige, that's my friend. You're his senior. You shouldn't be treating him like that. Like, why wasn't there a balance like that?
It's like call 911 and get him arrested. It's assault and battery. He should be in jail.
Like fucking immediately. Whoa.
Right.
It would literally be like, whoa, that psychopath. I'm glad we got that SP off our line.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Talk about a true, actual suppressive person. Somebody who's actually suppressing people. David Miscavige.
He's psychotic. Totally a sociopath.
Okay.
And he's suppressing Scientology.
That's what I mean. He's not even helping. Like, if Scientology, if L. Ron Hubbard, which honestly I have my own opinions and I've done a lot of research on him, he was a manipulative fucking liar. Like, he's just a bullshitting fucking bullshitter. And so I can't even say. But even if people do believe in Scientology and all that bullshit, Dave Miscavige actually ruining and corrupting and changing anything of any sort of hope or of light that there was in Scientology. And if there was any of that, it's because people who came to actually help the world came in thinking this was the thing to do. It wasn't because Scientology's policies are so great that they're actually changing the planet. And that David Miscavige is just, not doing them correctly. No. L. Ron Hubbard's gross. Scientology's gross. But it would be doing better if Dave Miscavige didn't have his whole ego power head trip involved.
It's a little bit of a blessing in disguise because he's single-handedly going to bring that place down to its knees. I mean, with the lawsuits that are going forward and many other things that are going forward and being discovered and coming up financially and everything like that, the place is on its way out.
Yeah. Good.
He's helping it.
Yeah, he's helping it in his own stupid ass fucking shit. Okay, so so we're gonna move on. Thank you for the Anderson family. If anybody out there has more information on the Anderson family, you know how to hit this one up. Let me know. I was gonna ask a random question, but I think that will come up later. I'll ask later. But let's move on to the next person, right? So we did Diane Anderson. I want to make sure we covered Diane, Phil, Paul, Jarrett, and then my sister you wouldn't know because we weren't at Gold Base. Those are the people at Gold Base that I wanted to cover from my own personal family. Okay, so now we're talking about other kids and other people from the Int Ranch. Jenna Miscavige, their whole family. Obviously, you said Ronnie Miscavige was ordering you to do something, or senior Ron Miscavige, right?
Yeah, Ronnie.
Did you know Jenna? Did you, Jeff Hawkins, know Jenna at all?
I didn't know Jenna.
Okay.
Because I was never out at the ranch or anything like that. But
So if somebody
I knew Ron.
asked me, if somebody asked you randomly, hey, did you know Megan Anderson? Would you say I didn't know Megan Anderson, but I knew her parents and dad, or
I would
what?
say I knew her parents, and Megan is the name that I remember. And they talk about you.
Oh, that Megan. What is she up to now?
What are we going to do with her, you know?
Oh my God. Okay, so Jenna Miscavige, did you know, okay, so you didn't know her personally, but did you know her other siblings, Sterling, Justin, or did you know Nathan Tompkins, even though technically...
I knew Sterling and Justin.
Did you know them from the Int Ranch or from Gold Base?
From Gold.
Okay.
Because their dad was my best friend in the Sea Org, Foster.
Foster Tompkins.
Yeah, he was my best friend.
I'm so glad. That's insane. Foster Tompkins was your best friend in the Sea Org, or wow.
And even before the Sea Org.
Wow. So how did you guys know each other before the Sea Org?
We were both at the Publications Org in Denmark.
Wow. Germany?
Yeah. In
Did I
Copenhagen.
just say Copenhagen?
Copenhagen.
Like, that doesn't ring. That doesn't sound. So that's crazy. So you were in another country, which I think I heard Aaron and Sterling talk about, like being in another country and stuff. Which I was like, oh, whoa. So they really did have more time. Like for me, I went to the Int Ranch when I was like 3.5, almost 4 years old. So I didn't have like a previous life other than the ATA and CEO.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Foster.
So you knew Foster. Who is Justin and Sterling Tompkins' dad. Yeah. And Sterling and Justin are actual twins, even though Nathan Tompkins and Sterling look like more like brothers. I mean, they are brothers, they're half, but they look more like they would be twins, like, you know.
Right.
And then there's Jenna, who's the daughter of Biddy and
Ronnie,
who's not Foster's. So Foster is the dad of Justin and Sterling. So you felt like you already had a connection to them via Foster because you guys were already friends before Gold Base and Sea Org.
Yeah. And Sterling and I have been in touch, you know.
Wow.
Because I'm always asking Sterling, what do you hear about your dad, you know?
Yeah. Is Foster still at the Gold Base?
He's in PAC.
Okay.
As far as I know.
He's at PAC. Wow. If my mom or dad was still at PAC, I cannot for the life of me find my dad anywhere. I would be like, where are they? Where are they?
Yeah. In fact, I called Foster after I left the Sea Org.
While he's in the Sea Org, obviously.
Was still at the PAC mill.
Gold Base. Oh, okay.
And so I called the PAC base. And I said that I worked for Intel, which is a company here in Portland.
Okay.
I said I worked for Intel, and I had some answers for Foster, his questions about computers, and could he call me back? You know. So of course they relayed the message because they just thought it was a business thing with his computers and all that. Yeah. So he called me back, and I said, no, I'm not with Intel. This is Jeff. And he was like, oh, I can't talk to you. I can't talk to you. You know.
Oh, my God.
And
wait,
I said,
did you talk or no?
I just said, well, I said, if you ever need anything, you know, I'm there for you. You know, I basically gave him that message of like, you know, I'm your friend. I will always be your friend. And anything you need, I'm there. You know, and he was like, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that's ringing through his head many, many times since then, too. Oh, yeah.
And not only that, how did the call end?
I think he said, oh, I can't talk to you, and hung up or something like that. He was just freaked out. You know?
Wow. I mean, I can only imagine, did he keep it to himself or did he go get a sec check and then that came up?
No, probably he had to bring it up as a confession, you know.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, that was very sweet of you.
Yeah, I just hope.
That's crazy. So, okay. So you were best friends with Foster. And so then when Justin, how did it feel to see Sterling and Justin come to the gold base from Int Ranch?
Didn't interact with them all that much.
But you just kind of knew, like, were you nice to them? Like, hey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I knew Foster and I knew Barbara fairly well.
How did you know Barbara?
She was around, same
like
way
at
you know
the
any
gold base. Yeah.
At the base.
Okay, because later Barbara became a teacher or an adult or whatever at the Int Ranch.
Yeah.
Kind of handling all the governess children, people like me who were unhandleable.
Right.
She's at least nice compared to some of the other people who did that job, right?
For sure. Yes.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I also wonder, even now, I'm wondering what did she do? Why did David Miscavige stick her at the Int Ranch? Because that's always like a negative thing. That's never a positive thing. For David Miscavige.
She probably got busted. Wasn't she in the qualifications on technical lines, I think, or even services executive international. So she probably got the big bust.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, something like that, right? Okay, so that's great. So Jenna, and then Sterling and Justin, that's how you know. And what about you, Amy? Did you kind of see? Did you see when Sterling and Justin graduated the Int Ranch and were coming to Gold Base?
Yeah.
Were you on personnel line still then?
No, I was in watchdog committee by that time.
Okay, so you heard about it.
My attention was always, you always knew the new people.
Right.
And
that's
also
what I mean.
I went to Gold for a little bit of time, and we would do these different all hands on the production of e-meters or whatever we were doing, and they were always on it. And both Phil and Foster are very similar in terms of just fast, moving fast and enthusiastic and going A to B and so determined to get things done. That's how Foster was. And that's how I always saw Sterling too. Mm-hmm. Justin was more like a teddy bear. He was always kind of the strong guy. I thought that he would be like and I think he was in charge of exercise time or something like that, because he was like the weightlifter type of exercise guy. And I always figured that Sterling would be the executive, and he was always determined and enthusiastic. So it was such a breath of fresh air. Jenna, I knew she didn't come to the base for posting that I can remember, but I knew her as a young child because I worked with Biddy. And when I went to the Flag Land base on various things, Jenna was there with Biddy, and we watched a movie together, and everything. And I always just thought she was just beautiful. She had a mind of her own. Jenna always had a mind of her own. And it's a beautiful mind. I love it when people can think for themselves and stand apart, and even if it means to be different and not be in agreement with things and whatever. I just love it, because if you just like conform and let people run all over you, you can't be yourself. You can't. And anyway, no one was going to run all over her, that's for sure.
I love that you say that, because she definitely felt like she was always up against, all the time. So imagine in her position, right? Like this little, energetic, like we all were, energetic, vibrant, ready to do something. And if it doesn't make sense to us, we're not going to do it. Like that's just a human fucking fact. So like, even if we believe in Scientology, if you're gonna force me to hold these fucking cans for fucking 8 hours and repeat a same question to me, I'm a child. Eventually I'm just gonna, like Jenna did, she threw the fucking cans down and stomped on them so that they were smushed. So that she was like, fine. But she's not going, L. Ron Hubbard technology doesn't work. She's not doing that. She's just going, fuck you, you fucking auditor. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You see, so we're still stuck in this. Yeah. Anyways, what a rocker. You think she's always, I can't wait until, if y'all aren't following Jenna Miscavige, she hasn't put out any videos yet, but she's working on it. And I did a video with her, so I'm sure she'll put that out soon, eventually, whenever she's ready. But she also is she has her ways. She has her, she's smart. She's really smart. She's so sweet. Of course, everybody thinks that she was just like this snobby little bitch. But, that's what I mean. Like, just like when people think that, Jeff, never probably had, Jeff always had it easy or not had it easy. But like, no, Jeff was attacked by fucking Dave Miscavige all the time, was under the stress all the time. Amy Scobee, you were fucking under pressure all the time. Are you posting the right person in the right area? Are you, like, everything is always under the heat, So all I'm saying is with Jenna, it's not, everybody. The fact that Sterling was not with his mother, that Justin and Sterling were not together as children as all twins would be all the time. Like the fact that there was already this implemented idea that you should be lucky to have an hour of baseball every day. That's insane. Like, life shouldn't be hard from the beginning of your childhood.
I know. And even that gets canceled, And
then that's controlled. Oh, and you swore you backflashed 15 minutes off of your PE. Like, it's not even you're getting that 30 minutes every day. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah.
And then for Jenna being the youngest one, I also definitely connect with her because not only we were at the Int Ranch together as cadets, and she was my senior for a lot of things. I had to call her Mr. Miscavige. Hi, Mr. Miscavige. Just to be reminded what family she was a part of.
Well, because you were getting your etiquette in so that you learn as a young Sea Org member what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Wait, what was Emily Post had proper etiquette, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it?
Something like that in the etiquette course or something. We had to read a whole thing about Emily Post and how to read, or is it Emily? I don't even know if but yeah, something where how to properly put the right fork on the right side. And that's how we knew how to set up RTC tables. Anywho. Okay. So yeah. Oh, good. So we did Jenna, Sterling. See, so each name is going to have like a little bit of chunk and stamina. This one, that was fun just because I love Jenna and, we've been through the ringer and we both were in CMO. We both have been through similar dealings because we both have a very open, sort of wild heart, like artful, creative, loving. I disagree with that kind of heart,
Yeah. I love her too.
So I just want to put that on the record for all y'all out there. Jenna did not fucking have it easy. And even as a child, I did think, oh, Jenna's getting all this special treatment. But even as a child, you are wrong thinking what you see is what it is. Trust me. Yeah. As we all know that a lot of that is manipulation and bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, so one other person I would bring up is Sam Francis. I know Jeff Hawkins, I think did you ever meet the Francis family, Sam Francis and Miriam Francis?
I knew Miriam Francis. She was one of the artists that worked under me.
Oh, no. I think there might be another Miriam. Miriam and Sam Francis were children of who are Miriam and Sam Francis's
isn't it Carrie Francis?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Carrie Francis?
And the dad, I think he was like not allowed. I think he was declared or something or wasn't allowed
didn't come up there. So Carrie Francis had a couple kids, but I never met them. Did they come on?
So they were later. And I'm just I'm just bringing up kids that are speaking out or that have chosen to not be a part of Scientology, whether their parents are in it or not. So.
Yeah, it was Carrie Francis was one of the artists.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You probably, that's exactly. Yeah. And actually, I remember their mom, I believe, was very very good at art and paint. Like she
was a painter.
Yeah,
and she did really, really good art.
Yes, Carrie. That her name was Carrie Francis. That sounds familiar.
Carrie Francis. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely knew Sam Francis very well because I had met him already before in LA at like events or something. So I knew, and then later when we found out, oh, Sam Francis is coming to Int Ranch, it was like, I always felt like, oh, he's so sweet and innocent. I wonder if I'll be allowed to hang out with him because I was so out ethics. And I wasn't so out ethics, by the way, for y'all listening. I was not out ethics. I was just a freaking child who
You had a mind of your own.
Yeah, it was out ethics to have a mind of your own, literally. So imagine
totally.
that. I guess, yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I was out ethics. Yeah. So, okay, cool. So there you go. So that's what you know. Carrie Francis did a bunch of art and stuff like that. Was there anything specific that you knew she did specifically? Like,
well, in the big book, What is Scientology? There's a whole section on the life of L. Ron Hubbard, and there are illustrations of each phase of his life. She did all of those. She did all those paintings.
Wow. Yeah, I think I remember that too. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and also, I was
good
gonna
artist.
say, speaking of the What is Scientology book, I would say that, and maybe you guys have your own stories of going to the Int Ranch and doing this, but I would say that at least 50% of all the imagery and whatever you see physically in photos and stuff in that book, What is Scientology? Or is it What is Scientology? Are all filmed or taken at the Int Ranch. Like the contact assist, or my dad stealing a purse from somebody, and Mark Headley now has to write his overts, all those things. And
I think it's the Scientology handbook.
The Scientology handbook, like how to do a contact assist and all those, like there's a lot of, if anybody has the Scientology handbook, please send it to me. I need it.
Yeah, that's it's the yellow one that has all the pictures in there.
And the big shining, I wonder who designed that cover.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I don't think I did that cover.
I was like, because that was real bright and shiny.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, good. So yeah, I was just saying, thank you, Amy, the Scientology handbook. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about Jenna, we talked about Sam and Miriam from the Int Ranch. So was there anybody, we'll save the rest for the next episode. But was there anybody that you personally, either Amy or Jeff, knew that were kids from the Int Ranch that you specifically loved, or was that never a thing? Like, oh, we never connected with any specific Int Ranch cadets.
I never went out to the ranch when it was the kids. I was sent out there.
Oh, you did go out.
I was sent out to the Int Ranch when I was being offloaded. One of the times that I was being offloaded.
I was about to say, before I already interrupted you, I was about to say, you're either going to the Int Ranch to do a mission or a project for the cadets and to get their fucking ethics in. There's only three things. Or you're going to the RPF, or you're getting offloaded, which means you're going to be at the Campbell House or something away from everybody else.
There was about 60 of us out there at one point, all being offloaded. That was when Miss Gavage was doing a purge of the base. 2002, I think it was.
No, it would have been later than that.
Yeah.
Because I was still there I left in July of 2003 to the Flag RPF, Rehabilitation Project Force. And that wasn't there yet. So it must have been like, either
shortly after that.
Shortly after that, because all hell was breaking loose right at that point, and I got off that property. I was so happy to be off that property.
Where did you go after that?
To the Flag RPF, and then I was on that for 2 years, and finally
that's left. But you were on the Flag RPF? Did you ever finish the RPF?
No, that's when Matt and I escaped together.
So Matt got sent to the RPF?
Yeah, he did.
And that's when you guys started mingling.
Yeah, but we knew each other since 1983. Like, we knew each other for, decades. Matt
was at Gold Base?
Yeah, he was one of the first people that ever arrived there. He was at the property.
I know he was, sorry. You said yes. I know he was there. I meant to say, Matt was at Gold Base. You guys knew each other at Gold Base. Years went by, right?
Yeah, he left. He left almost right away. He got kicked out because he was worker oriented. He was complaining that people weren't able to sleep.
Yeah, he's too humble and too respectful of human being rights.
Yeah, it was miscarriage.
At least at the time. I mean, who knows what happened to that Matt Pesh later? But anywho, what I was saying is that
I was on the RPF for 24 hours.
Okay.
The shortest.
So the RPF, you mean the Happy Valley Int Ranch, right?
No, this was in PAC.
Okay.
RPF.
So is this before you went to Gold Base?
No, this was after.
This is interesting. So I wondered why, and maybe Amy, you can explain this. Maybe they started the RPF later or something. Why did Dave Miscavige, because it's always David Miscavige, it's not like L. Ron Hubbard's alive and still giving orders. Why did David Miscavige choose to specifically send some people to the Int Ranch RPF and then other people to the PAC Ranch RPF?
Well, there was no Int Ranch RPF.
Okay,
at that time.
That's what I was gonna say. Maybe, and then later, because like definitely the Int Ranch RPF was there. At least this, I would say, the second time, because Amy was definitely on the Int Ranch RPF before the kids and shit were there, or when the kids were there, but at the very beginning. But also, Amy's a pro. She's been on the RPF multiple times.
Four times.
Foster and I were sent to the RPF together from the Int base. And
by David Miscavige?
Yes, I never
obviously
really found out who.
Right.
But probably, yeah.
And do you know why?
It was just out of the blue.
What did they say? They have to tell you something like you're
they
in
just
beta.
Said you're on the RPF. So we went down there.
No, Jeffy, you cannot just leave people with that. They have to give you some paper or something that says you've committed these crimes, you're going to the RPF. What were those crimes? Whether they were true or not.
I don't even think there was an issue.
Do you think, I think the issue might have been that you're too slack. Like you're too not harsh. You need to fucking toughen up.
Well, something like that.
Part of the thing is that
people. Amy knows every reason why she was sent to the RPF.
But no, people in the Commodore's Messenger org had the authority to assign somebody to the Rehabilitation Project Force with no justice whatsoever. So they could say, David Miscavige could say, send Foster and Jeff to the RPF, and then they would just get sent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody had to give you a reason.
So finish. You fucking get this thing that says you're going to RPF.
We were on the RPF for 24 hours, and then we called up to the RPF in charge office, and there was a phone call from the Int base from Matt Butler, and he said, "You guys aren't on the RPF. You're to report to PAC Estates." And so we said, "Okay." And we reported to PAC Estates, where Foster still is. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was it. It was you're leaving the Gold Base, you're going to the RPF, and that's just because Dave Miscavige doesn't trust anybody. That's why. He didn't know who the fuck to trust and not, so he was sending everybody to the RPF to see who he could pull out and be like, all right, that one's fine. That just don't have him here at the Gold Base. Just send him to PAC. I can't trust anybody, so just the only person I can trust is Diane Anderson, because we have her 100% brainwashed 24 hours of the time.
Oh,
well, I got to see some of the OSA files, and I can't pull them up here because I'm not, hooked up. But some of the OSA files have what was to be done with all the various staff members on the base, and it says these people go into renovations, these people go onto the RPF, these people keep on the RPF. I need to do a video about that and show it, because people are going to want to know. Yeah, I will do that.
Yes, people want to know all these. Like, this is exactly why I'm doing this with you guys, and we're going to do 16B, episode 16B, where we continue just naming parents and doing exactly what we're doing.
I'm going to
Let's do one more. You search whatever you're doing, Amy. Let's talk about one more person. And it's just random. They're not. I have literally, guys. Let me show you, Jeff. the people who have been watching my channel know I've been doing this, but I have a Rolodex of every single child or adult that was anybody that was at the Int Ranch, other than the RPF, because I won't know. But so, like, for example, let's see, we should just do this. Kim Radstrom. Do you remember Kim Radstrom? Or she also went by Kim Fumagalli. She would be Radstrom. She's the kid of one of her mom. Oh no, her dad. Oh, what's his name? Was in RTC.
Jesse
Radstrom?
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
He had a kid?
Yes. Kim Radstrom. And then later she changed her name, or her original name was Kim Fumagalli. So maybe he was married to somebody and her name was that. Anyways, so Kim Radstrom, yes. And he's like a good looking dude, right? He was a pretty good looking dude in RTC or something. Yep. That was her dad. Yep. Yes, he had a really sweet, amazing child named Kim Fumagalli, later Kim Radstrom.
Wow. So let me just tell you what it says in this OSA file about Foster Tompkins, Jeff. Okay, you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It says West U.S., Foster Tompkins, Pack Mill IC. So that means in the Pacific area where the blue buildings are, mill meaning like a carpentry mill, in charge. So it says Pack Mill IC, long-term Int-based staff member and criminal, slid off into slack-off, messed work type post with no control or responsibility. And he's highlighted to be routed onto the renos team that they were putting together to get certain renovations done. So he was named as a resource because he's slack off.
He's he founded Incom.
Yeah,
and set up the whole computer system for Scientology.
Wait, this is who? You?
Foster.
Oh, Foster. That's what I was going to say. I heard he was very intelligent when it came to...
Super smart.
Super intelligent
and he just was treated like fucking shit, and he's actually a really smart... But so were you, Jeff. You're really smart.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. You guys finished. I'm just going to change something, but finish reading your thing, Amy.
Okay, yeah, that's all I was going to say. I just looked up his name because, it tells... Yeah, it tells you. Do you want me to see who else is on this list?
Am I on the list?
Oh, let me search for Jeff or Hawkins. I'll search for Hawkins. I think you were out by that time because they were, no matches for Hawkins. So yeah, it's because you were out and then you started up talking on the message board, the ex-Sea Org message board. And you were one of the very first people that I met up with. And you got me on this message board too. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they did OSA files on you to get you to shut up too.
Yeah, and I got all those from
You
Mark.
did see them. Oh, good.
Yeah. I have all those.
Yeah. So, and it's so funny because they were all over us to shut us up before we even really spoke out. All we were doing was, saying, "Hey, Jeff, I remember you. How you doing? I hope you're doing great." And they're like, get PIs on these guys, get them to shut up, threaten them with their lives,
And I never knew that any of that was going on. They were so ineffective. I never even knew they had a program to shut me up.
Right. Yeah. I did because they were trying to get information from my mom. They were sec checking my mom to find out what I was doing. And she said, "Look, I'm not going to be a rat for my daughter. This is weird, So she wouldn't do it. But so I knew that they were trying to get that information.
Mom, Amy?
Bonnie Elliott. She was in the Sea Org as well. Yeah. I'm a second generation, just so you know.
Was she? No, I know. That's so amazing and crazy. It's so amazing. Wow. I'm such a fan. No, I was going to say, what was your mom's or what was her position? Where was she in the Sea Org?
Okay. Flag. And she was an ethics officer.
Okay, so I do know. I think I know. Was she there when the kids went to Flag, or no? She left way later.
She would have left by that time. I think. Yeah, but
That's interesting.
yeah, you can see her on Scientology in the Aftermath, season 1, episode 1. Remember, she was fighting disconnection on her hospice bed. Right before she passed away, and that's how that whole series started.
I did see that, and I was bawling my freaking eyeballs out. Thank you very much.
I know.
That's so fucking fucked up and annoying.
I know.
Ugh. Okay, groovy cakes. Okay, well, we floated upon one more. I want to do one more scroll, and then we're gonna go to all of our god darn comments, and then I'm gonna find another time that Amy and Jeff are available for my needs of knowledge.
Needs of knowledge.
Needs of knowledge.
I have a lot coming up.
Knowledge. honestly, like, Jeff, you know what's so sweet is if my mom ever does leave, she'll be able to see this video, and at least, who knows, like, maybe she'll be on her deathbed and I'll show her this, but at least she knows, like, the truth is the truth, you know? You're here with me speaking, and you're showing me love and sweet, you know?
That's right.
I have a photograph somewhere of your mom, and if I ever find it, I'll send it to you.
Yes, please.
It's when we were doing the Dianetics campaign, and she's like doubled over her desk laughing.
Oh.
What was it about? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
We were always goofing around.
Okay, so I'm just going to start with number A's. Yeah, send that to me, Jeff. Once you find it, send it to me.
Yes.
I'm just going to start with the A's. So did you know the Alsop family? Duncan, Cameron, and Jane Alsop, and Bob Alsop is the dad, and who's the mom? I think his assistant. Joy. Is it Joy?
Joy
Alsop?
Joy Alsop.
Yeah, 100%. Joy.
Wow, my mind just like, whew,
it just shot that out. She had like red hair, kind of like shorter,
and he was bald.
Bigger. Yeah, and he was the dentist, right? Bob Alsop was the dentist at Gold. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, it was Bob something else.
Am I wrong? Okay, maybe I'm wrong about the dentist thing.
I'm thinking of
somebody's parents were was the dentist.
The dentist?
Yeah,
okay, so
Gold.
what was the dentist's name?
I thought it was Bob.
Maybe
it was Bob something, yeah.
Well, anyway, he did my teeth. And he did such a terrible job. He gave me bridges and the teeth fell out of them.
Oh my God. No, he literally cut out my wisdom teeth on on the top here and on the bottom here. And so I still to shuffle my teeth, but now look, I have like my smile is off. I'm like, you just moved my whole smile for the rest of my life off. But you know what? I don't give a fuck.
When I got out, I had to spend about $20,000 to fix the work that he had fucked up in my mouth.
Oh
Seriously.
my God. Like, it's fucking not real. It's like I don't even understand where he
started work and never finished it.
Yeah, a lot of that happened. A lot
mine
of that
was
happened.
Like $6,000 to fix mine. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Like, it's so insane. So anyways, okay, so Jane Alsop, who knows if Bob Alsop or whatever.
Well,
or
if
Bob,
it's the dentist.
It's not Bob Alsop. It's not Bob. Hold on. It's Jane Alsop, Joy Alsop, and who was Joy's husband?
Bob.
Is it
but
Bob
I'm picturing
Alsop?
somebody totally something else, a PR guy.
Bob Horn. I'm so
okay,
sorry.
That's the dentist.
Bob Horn is the
That's
dentist.
the dentist.
Okay, Brad Horn. Okay, now we're bringing up two people. So Brad Horn was a cadet at the ranch. And his dad is Bob Horn, right? The dentist.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, which is totally separate from Joy Alsop and Jane Alsop and Duncan Alsop and Cameron Alsop, who were all kids at the Int Ranch. But Brad Horn was also a kid at the Int Ranch, and Bob Horn, the dentist. So yeah, Bob Horn fucked like, no offense. Like, I'm sure he was never an asshole. Again, he was never a bad person.
Super nice. Both of it,
so
him and his wife, they were totally nice.
His wife had totally little.
Totally curly and a total limp. She was always limping.
Like, oh, let me get that from the. And it was like, oh my God, are you going to shatter your spine? You look like you're going to shatter your spine if you move.
Yeah.
And that was me as a kid. So yeah, Bob Horn did the dental work and Brad Horn was his son. Wow, I even remembered his son, Brad Horn. I don't even have that on my thing. Yeah. So now I will. Okay, so wow, that's totally separate from Jane Alsop, Cameron, and Duncan. So Joy Alsop and there's
Bob.
their dad.
It's Bob Alsop.
It is Bal. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're just different people. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I wasn't too fucked. Okay, so other than the dental work of Bob Horn and Becky Horn, Becky
Yeah.
was his wife.
Yeah, and his assistant, I think.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I mean.
she was-
They were his wife, but also the dental assistant. And I'm assuming they must have been doing this before they joined the Sea Org, right? They must have been dentists or something. So
Yeah.
I think
that's
he
how they
had
were
some
able-
sort of certificate, and that's one of the reasons. I think he did it in LA, and they brought him up to the Int base to save money on sending anybody from the Int base to the dentist.
Mhm.
Yeah, they set up a whole dental office. It
Yeah.
was just all the equipment, everything.
Yeah, right up near Qual, or
Yeah.
as you would
Yeah.
call it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I would go to a dental office, and right there it would be like, oh, I'm going to go audit my mom on her touch assist for her back, and then she's going to give me TRs and objective auditing, and then we're going to go to Qual to get a e-meter check, and then after my e-meter check, since it's not before the session, I'm going to go to Bob Horn to get my wisdom teeth pulled, all on one trip.
Yeah.
A 15-minute trip, a 15-minute run from the Int Ranch to the Gold Base. We're going to get it all done on this one day. We're also going to security check her. Just kidding.
Uh,
Okay, yes. Good, guys. Wow. So we brought up two people in my mistake of mentioning some random people on my thing. So you personally, did you, Amy or Jeff, ever personally know Jane Alsop, Cameron Alsop, or Duncan Alsop? The
No.
kids of, okay, so you went, that's what I
No,
mean. So
never
these
knew
are
the
just
kids.
kids at the Int Ranch. And would you have, did you know that Becky and Bob Horn had a child? The dentist
I didn't even
had a
know
child
they
in the
had.
Int Ranch?
No.
My next question, Jeff, or past question was, did you know that my mother was a ballet dancer?
oh yeah, no.
You
she
did
talked
know.
about that.
See,
Yeah.
you see, Amy, how like,
Yeah.
so Amy had no idea that my mother was a ballet dancer, but she
Yeah.
knew more about my dad and his attitude and what, how he was. But
Yeah.
And I even said this on my episode. I said, yeah, but Amy, if you were somebody that knew my mom or had to deal with her somehow in the editing office or whatever, you would have been really good friends with my mom, and you would have known she was a ballet dancer because she secretly had. So I want to hear it from you, Jeff, but I always thought that she was privately, to me, not showing me she was so proud of her ballet stuff, but to other people and other Sea Org members who got it and were dedicated Sea Org members, she would tell them about it.
Yeah. And she even had a photograph or a poster or something of her with her whole ballet thing, like balancing on one foot and,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Yeah.
She, like Jeff, she was like a professional lead head dancer in ballet in Canada who got flown to New York, Williamsburg, to do shows in New York, in Williamsburg. Like that, for somebody to be doing that as a head dancer, she was a professional. She was actually a professional ballet dancer. And so for her back today to be so fucked up, and for her to be having to go to these medical non-WOG, they have to only be Scientology doctors to help her, and she's not getting the proper treatment. It's so stupid. I bet you somebody who knows so much about arthritis and bones and stuff could help her so quickly and happily.
Yeah, probably could. She always seemed kind of wistful about her ballet days,
What do you mean by that?
Happy.
Oh,
Yeah,
is that what that means? I don't know. What does wistful mean? Like, does that mean like sort of like, oh, sort of happy?
Yeah, she was remembering it with pleasure,
right.
And a little regret sort of thing.
Interesting. Isn't that fucking amazing? So what I know of my mom is that when she was, the reason she ever even went into a Scientology organization or anything is because she was a ballet dancer, was really into it. Whether her mother, my grandmother, and who, had pushed her into it, like to do it, like, oh, ballet, if this is what you want to do, then we're making you do it, and then it becomes something you don't really want to do or whatever. But she did do it. And she was, anyways. Very long story short, she was pushed off the stage by another, like out of jealousy by another dancer in New York or something, and shoved off. Like, I can't believe, when I heard this story from my aunt, I was visually imagining my mother, right, in a New York theater doing ballet, and then some other fucking some jealous, which is so so common now in this world. I've realized there's actually a lot of people in the world who are jealous of other people who are great people they're just jealous of them for doing or being better at what they do than. So I'm sure that happened with my mom. This person fucking, I guess, pushed my mom off the stage. My mom broke her foot. And that is where she was like, I will never be able to be a lead dancer ever again. Because when you're a professional ballet dancer and you break your foot, that's a big no-no. Yeah. And so then apparently from then she went into a depression kind of. Like that's what I'm hearing from other family members that will talk to me. That she kind of went into this that was her purpose and her thing, and she just felt like she wasn't going to be on the top of that anymore or whatever. Anyways, that converted into somehow finding Scientology in the Toronto org, and then she was there, and then she met my dad at the organization on staff.
Yeah. Just so for wistful, basically longing, like a feeling of longing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, right. Right. A little regret, but also loving. Mm-hmm. Right. That's what a great word. Wistful. That's exactly what my mom thinks about her ballet. It was just like taken away from her. Instead of Scientology encouraging her, like, hey, you could be a teacher. You can bring your daughters or whoever. It was like the opposite. It was like, oh, we're going to tell you, here's a whole new other purpose, which makes total sense. Because imagine some artist, some dancer. I mean, I'm a singer and a dancer, so I can imagine if somebody told me, hey, be a part of this group that will help clear and beautifully organize the planet and make everything so pretty and beautiful, and alignment is probably what she felt. I would have done it too. I would do it today if somebody told me. Obviously, I would have my investigator skills on, but I would join any group that was truly helping and fucking doing a lot to help people. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we do questions? I'm going to have to go pretty soon here.
Yeah, we all have to go pretty soon here. You guys are, staying way too long on my channel.
It's all right.
Totally
I'm so happy to fill in any holes, because when do you get a chance to do that? It's important.
Exactly. Yeah. And thank you guys so much for doing this. And if we can, let's please do 16B so we can continue all the ranch names and catch up on all that. And I might even have Gary Jackson come in with us on one of them. And
Jackson's going to know a lot. That's a good idea. Maybe
he would know everybody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But still, so will you guys. You think you do or don't, but you guys do. So this is great. Okay, let's go to questions. Are you able to run questions over there or not? We didn't do that. Okay, so I have to be suffering. Goldie, if you have any questions or if there are people with questions, please just star them if they do have them, and then I'm going to run through them right now. And this goes from the very beginning. We've been on here for so long. Thank you guys so much for so long, for the world of life. Okay.
For so long.
For so long. Oh, so did I answer? So was there, from you guys, there wasn't anybody else that you personally did know at the Int Ranch specifically?
Oh, I'm sure that I would have known
as the kids.
I'm sure that there are. We would just have to go through the names to
so we'll go
jog my memory.
Okay,
yeah.
You know what? Let's start with this one
the
because
Gilberts, Josh Gilbert and his brother,
Josh Gilbert and Jesse Gilbert.
And Jesse Gilbert. So Josh Gilbert was my assistant when I got busted into gold, and I was doing e-meter manufacturing of the circuit
boards. Oh my God,
boards.
he was in the e-metering.
Yeah. He was my assistant.
Josh Gilbert.
I really loved him. And I loved Jesse too. And because
what did Jesse do?
Jesse, what was he doing? I don't know.
I feel like he was in,
he really liked Louis L'Amour, and I was totally into Louis L'Amour. So we would sit on the bus together and talk about Louis L'Amour.
Jesse?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
No. Yeah, with Jesse. Josh was my assistant. Jesse was his brother, and I really liked them both.
That's so crazy. I do remember Josh Gilbert being on that post or position at Gold. I remember. And then did you know either of their mom or dad? Jeff, Hawkins, Gilberts, the Gilberts? They did come to the ranch later. They did come to the ranch later on. So maybe, but definitely before 2000. But that's when we were all shipped off to Clearwater.
The name is familiar, but I
the Gilberts.
It was 87 that I went into gold into the e-meter area. So, and Josh came in.
I'm losing his mom's name right now, but anyway, she had short red hair, kind of butchy, big boobed woman. Anyway, I don't know if she passed away, but she definitely was sent off because she had breast cancer about 5 years ago. I was working for somebody, still a dear friend of mine. He came in to give her a massage. He's a massage therapist, and apparently she was like, oh yeah, I met this, he used to be in Scientology, or his mom's in the Sea Org. And I was like, what? And I was like, where? At Gold? She was like, yeah, like your mom. And I was like, no. I was like, what? Who was just giving you a massage? And then it was Josh Gilbert. And I was like, oh, I do know him. Oh, yeah. His mom has breast cancer? I was like finding out all this information just from a random fucking massage appointment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's pretty crazy. And I know that their parents and parents were in something having to do with art or designing, something on the artful side.
I think in marketing, his mom was in marketing
or something, but it was never an ethics thing. Like, I definitely know who was like, I mean, I definitely remember Duncan, Mr. Duncan, you know, the INR gold base. Mm-hmm. He was on that job forever, right? Gerald Duncan, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. DM ordered him to beat me up one time.
Really?
And he couldn't do it.
Fuck?
Yeah, he couldn't do it. He was just so.
So how did you know he ordered you to beat him up? Or ordered him to beat you up?
Well, because
he was like, "Yo, you've pissed off DM very much. He told me to beat the shit out of you right now."
Yeah, and but he couldn't do it because you know he's basically a decent guy.
Yeah,
and he just couldn't do it.
Gerald Duncan has dealt with so many people. Like so many under the orders of Dave Miscavige. Oh my God, I can't even.
I know.
I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, he was ordered to be cruel, but that wasn't who he was. He was a decent man.
He would have gotten in trouble for not doing it.
Right, and he did a bunch. Oh, for sure. I know many other stories about that. Okay, wow. Okay, good. Whew. Okay, in the comments, I already saw it because that was a random one. Liz Ferris. You guys know Bob Ferris.
Yeah. I've told Liz, but I don't know. Jeff, have you seen, how did you know Bob?
Well, he was, I think, in Treasury Gold or something like that. He wasn't a high profile guy. He was sort of just one of the people that was around. You know, I never knew him that well.
Do you know what the things around what he did? Like what do you remember a guy named Bob Ferris always up to?
Old Treasury.
Was it Treasury?
Okay. Yeah. I think he was always
like
what
systems,
about you, Amy?
Systems. And so he was in manufacturing department. And he was one of these people of like, when you think of gold, he's just been there forever and he's part of the fabric of the place.
Yeah.
You know?
Like on so many levels. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was never somebody who would be getting up on the stage and doing anything, you know?
No, but if they were like, oh, we have a flap somewhere, they'd be like, Bob Ferris? Like somehow Bob Ferris was like ready to be there and deal with it.
Yeah, that's right. He was technical smart.
Technical smart. Jeff, I'm going to be throwing up a bunch of little things here for all of us, but Jeff is a gentleman and a scholar. That's from Purple Groovy 69.
Oh, thank you for that.
Oh, yes. So we're going to scroll through. There's random. Okay, so we talked. Yeah, here. Jeff, did you know Bob Ferris? That's from Liz Ferris, who's Bob Ferris's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question, Amy, on a personal thing. Did you know Liz Ferris? Was there some? Did you know? I don't think you know who Liz Ferris is.
Well, I do now because I've spoken to her several times.
Oh, okay.
But
Liz
she was
Ferris
in Celebrity Center.
Yeah, she was at Celebrity Center, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like she either worked under you or her senior or something, right? She was in Celebrity Center when I was the Watchdog Committee member for Celebrity Center up at the Int base, but I was down in LA a lot. I don't remember. I remember some of the things that she was involved in,
which we've talked about, because it was, kind of flappy.
Yeah, flappy. I mean, one of the things she talked about was like when she was having literal like suicidal thoughts and shit, and she would just be up on the roof like that. She was fucking crazy, and like nobody would give her any no talking, nothing. It was just like she just had to go through all this shit by herself.
It's just it's
amazing.
It's really amazing, and it's amazing that it doesn't happen more often, actually. But because
anyways,
they just
we'll
mess
talk.
with people's minds.
We should. Me, you, and Liz should all have a little freaking live stream about that, just so we can really show people like. Doesn't matter what positions you're on. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're at. You're just, this is your job. This is your mission. You better focus on it. And if anybody else is having any other problems, that's not your issue. Right?
Right. Yeah.
This one's for Jeff. Tim Harris says, question, Jeff Hawkins, does it annoy you now that you help Scientology sell these books?
Yeah, it annoys me that I got so many people into Scientology. I am not proud of that, and I hope they all get out, and that's one of the reasons that I speak out as much as I do, is maybe I can reach some of those people that I got into Scientology and hopefully get them out,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my hope, even just for my mom or somebody. I know you guys were close, so it like, even just little, maybe it won't, maybe she'll never see this video, you know what I mean? Like, but still, it's nice. The truth is really nice. The truth, no matter how it comes out, whether we're crying, whether we're angry, whether whatever, at least now we have an outlet, we have a platform, we have people who are validating and really answering our questions or our upsets or whatever the fuck it was, this is why this is so important, and it may not feel important at time, times, and or here, we're just on a chat and we're just like chatting. No, it's super important. People are listening. I remember when I was so afraid to speak or to say anything or to even put my name or to even have a freaking pseudonym name, like anything. So to come this far and to have us here, I think that's really amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Jen, hi Jen, sweet angel baby. She's always a beautiful supporter. She actually bought this beautiful SPTV mug for me from Apostate Alex's site and got it for me so that I can enjoy my mug. Where have you three been all of our lives? Oh yeah, trapped in a cult. Thanks for the fun stream. Lots of love always. Thank you, Jen. Yes, Rev Girl, we got our sippity sip sip. These are for my fellow wine drinkers. Right, Serge Delmar, one of my besties, and also an amazing artist. And also, if you go follow his channel on YouTube, you know who he is. Meth head, OMG, GG, what the fuck? Like, that's how I felt when my mom, like, because my mom is so nice to me. It felt like my mom was so nice to me, and she was so soft. And so when I said, like, Mom, I was genuinely like, as a mom, what did you do to fix this when you were younger? Because I'm not doing anything worse than you did. I'm not doing meth. I've never done coke in my life. Like, there's so, like, I understand I'm surrounded by all this, but I've never, like, so I just felt like, wow, Mom, you're so fucking rude for not even actually just being like, oh, honey, don't worry, that'll go away. Or it's just stress, or no, nothing. Just an immediate, yeah, you look like a meth head.
Right.
I was so vulnerable, and that was not the reaction I was wanting to hear, whether she was joking or not. Like, no.
In Scientology, you judge people constantly. Like, you have an instant reaction and judgment for people as a Scientologist. It's terrible.
Sorry, I'm just gonna throw some comments up here because I don't want you guys to not feel acknowledged or heard. A lot of people love us, and aw, I'm sending you $100 right now. Oh, literally, like, fucking, I just wanted my bag. I just wanted my bag of jewelry and little items, and maybe a few things that I also wanted to add into, like, fuck off. Like, and the thing
Did you
is,
get to keep that stuff from your grandma?
No.
You mean none of that? You didn't even get to keep it?
No, it was probably just put in the stuff of like, okay, here's some more stuff to the cousins or whoever wants to have it. That's why I still hold a grudge. I still am mad at my mom. Every time I think about that argument we had, I'm so mad at her. I was mad at her the whole time. I went on the airplane. My dad was sitting in the waiting area for our flight. She was there. I was like, no. And he was trying to get me to talk to her. And I was like, I'm not talking to her. I don't give a fuck if I stole money. I was so mad. And I didn't even know how to explain what I was mad about. Right. Isn't that fucked up? I was just like, I can't believe she did that. I thought I'm going to mute you, Jeff, a little bit. I thought I was mad that she did it in front of my WOG Scientology aunt. I mean, my WOG aunt. So I thought, you embarrassed me. Like, you didn't need to say that in front of my... I thought it was that. I thought, like, how could you... Now my whole family thinks I stole money from grandma. Like, you know... That was my upset. But really, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, what a bitch, mom. Like, that's when you literally could have been a mom. That's so fucked up. Anyway, so no, I did not. Somebody asked that. Did you ever get your carry-on bag? No, I did not. So yes, I still feel very mad. And this is why when I do little episodes where I'm just like, here's a random photo. That's all the photos and shit I have. That's all I have. Everything was always controlled. It's like, annoying. Anywho. Oh, I wanted to just bring this one thing up. I love what Alexa said on Aaron's video about the person saw as a strength, DM saw as a weakness, and vice versa. So I wanted to bring that up too, because I watched that and I loved it. And I loved how Alexa, put on this whole, you know, what does she call it? The predator is getting the predator, and L. Ron, whatever it was. David Miscavige basically took over Scientology by being the predator that took over the predator, and the predator didn't even realize. And then now, but that everything. David Miscavige, like, oh, young, energetic woman in his office and all these young messengers. And yes, the whole environment is totally bred to bring on predators who are there to manipulate people, children, trying to get somebody they shouldn't be in love with, etc. Like, so yeah, if y'all didn't watch that I didn't think I was going to like it. I was like, oh, another famous, stupid child celebrity talking with Aaron about Scientology. And it wasn't. I was very impressed. She had a really strong head on her shoulders, and was the whole predator, I loved how she talked about that. That was really cool. And David Miscavige himself being a predator of the predator, I just love that. I don't know if you saw that, Jeff, but yeah. DM also seems insecure and resentful of people who are cooler than him, and Jeff beat him on an IQ test and was actually good at expanding Scientology.
It's a fact.
That's the fucking thing. Like, Dave Miscavige is going to declare you a suppressive and send you the RPF if you made him feel smaller than he already is.
Yeah. Totally.
That was a good one. If you make David Miscavige feel smaller than he already actually physically is, I mean, you really are. You're cutting him short.
I heard from Mitch Brisker. I was talking to Mitch, and he said that after I left, Miscavige tried to write Dianetics TV ads, but they always failed. He couldn't write a TV ad that sold books.
Yeah, he was like, why don't you just get Jeff back here?
He always boasted about his speech writing capability, and Shelley Miscavige told me that she's the one who wrote those. So I think
other people.
His whole life is a lie.
Wrote his speeches, yeah.
No, Dave Miscavige's whole life is a fucking lie. Like, his wife is a lie. Like, everything is a fucking lie about this man. PTS for Life says, I was born in Toronto and parents were there in 70s to early 80s. I wonder if they knew Lara's parents. I'm sure they did. That's the exact years that they were in the Toronto organization, which was one of the only Scientology organizations in Canada at the time. So yes, who are your parents? I wonder. Let me know. Email me at larafmmusic@gmail.com. By the way, you get many blessings, Jeff. I just keep circular over them. There's so many. I need to, get to the what is the root of the cause. I need to get to the why of all these comments. I can't just be picking up all these sweet comments. Did Jeff say what's on his shirt has got to be one of those straight out of Scientology? Yeah, straight out of Scientology, bitches. Jeff, I mean, me and Amy are definitely stealing that 100% for our fourth wall. Is that what you call it, Amy? Your fourth wall?
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like the third wall. OT clear. Third wall. The wall of fire.
This is a better one.
The wall of fuck. The wall of, oh, your life is fucked now. All right. Here, let's start. These ones are very sweet. Just because. Parallel Jen says, just because. Thank you, sweet angel babies. That's very nice. Just because. I like that. Just because we have no questions other than, ugh. Oh, man. Okay, PTS for life. Question. Do you know Bob Ferris? We got to that one. Okay, good. Wait, I saw one here that says, music question for me, I guess. Have you heard of a UK band called Florence and the Machines? Are you dumb? I'm just kidding. You're not dumb, but of course. Your lovely songs and cool style remind me of theirs. My current fave songs of yours is Oh Darling, and you're great in the video. Thank you. Oh darling, you keep throwing out your lines, and if I needed some sort of cure for my mind, I'll take your gold whip, your stoned face, your manipulative little lies. That's what I talk about. Oh, darling. Thank you, Lauren Quigley. That's very sweet. And yes, of course, I've heard of Florence and the Machine. They're freaking awesome. Went on a little Florence and the Machine spell when I was leaving Scientology mentally after leaving the Sea Org and all that. Okay. Any other questions? I need to make Amy what do you call the moderator? Yes, thank you. Hi, Peggy. So that you can just jump in all these. Thank you, Blow Drill, sending Lara love and light. I like that.
Yeah, we can do that for any sort of future one because it would be easier for you as well.
Yes. Oh, 100%. But did you see that one? Amy is the queen bee and SPTV is here, her beehive.
Yes, Purple Groovy.
I love that.
Okay.
Jeff Hawkins, you've never had kids, right? Oh, sorry, honey. Wait, sorry, Jeff. You've never had kids, or you have kids, or no?
I have a daughter.
Oh, that's right. You have and is she? I was going to say, is she in the Sea Org out of this? She's not a Scientologist. Right?
She grew up in Scientology, and left with her mother when she was, I think, 10. And then she had a normal high school and college experience.
Okay, well, that's good. And so how did you see her often when you were at Gold Base or no?
Never. She was already out.
Never. Wait, yeah. So you wouldn't even take like a Libs Day or an LOA to see her?
I did take a Sunday to go see her when she lived in Southern California. And I discovered that she lived in Dana Point, which is close to the base. It's just over the mountains. So me and my wife at the time, my second wife, drove out and saw her, which was such a great experience. I hadn't seen her in like 12 years.
Right. And, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. And we spent the day with her, and it was just fabulous. And then, of course, when I got out, I called her, and I told her I was out of the Sea Org and I was out of Scientology. And she said, she was up in the Bay Area, and she said, I'm leaving now. I'm getting in the car. And she did. She drove right down to see me immediately. She heard I was out. And we spent a whole weekend just talking and laughing about everything. So.
Wow. And then how long until you saw her next?
What's that?
How long until you saw your daughter next, like after that? Because, I mean, they don't give you much time. I only saw my grandmother and, like, people that were non-Scientologists, or even my aunt who was a Scientologist. Like, I only really saw them literally 2 or 3 times the whole time I was at the Int Ranch.
Yeah. I only saw her one more time when I was in the Sea Org, which is, we had a family Thanksgiving, and my brother came with his wife, and my mother was there, and Gwenny was there.
Who? That
was good.
Gwenny?
Gwenny's my daughter.
Oh, cute. Like, that must be your daughter, because the way you said it was very sweet.
And she calls him Jeffy.
Yeah.
Jeffy.
And no one else is allowed to do that except her and her daughter.
Oh, that's so sweet. I really love that, Jeffy.
Yeah.
Okay, Free Xenu Project. Thank you for your sweet donation, honey. I finally got it live with you, Lara. I know you keep whoever this is has been definitely on all of our live channels, and I saw him on Amy's and everything when she was doing it. Anyways, and then I was going on mine the other day, and I saw him like, oh, I'm gonna miss it, but I'll catch up. And so here he is. Thank you, honey. I finally got it live with you, Lara and Amy and Jeff. I keep missing Lara and Amy the past few days. I personally like the fact that she said DM was a hyena, which is a scavenger. That must have been you, Amy, right?
No, I think you said it.
Oh, did I say it?
I think so.
I just can't imagine offending a hyena. Because, I mean, I know they get a lot of bad rep, but they are animals, and they are kind of sweet and cute.
Maybe I said it.
Yeah, I feel like that would be an Amy. That hyena! Okay, we got a few more before we end this beautiful chat. If you have any last questions, throw them in there. And then otherwise, we'll see you on beautiful next one. Here's Lara. Weren't you in CMO for David Miscavige for a while? Yeah, I talked about that. I was in CMO CW in Clearwater for about a year and a half, and I actually took over Jenna Miscavige's post when she was on sec checking and which I found out. I thought she was leaving. Oops, sorry. I thought she was leaving. I thought she was like on route lines leaving the Sea Org or CMO. But now that I've talked to Jenna, I found out that she didn't even know why she was getting sec checked so hard. And it was because her parents were leaving the Sea Org.
And she didn't know that.
And she had no idea. And they were fucking abusing, like fucking sec checking her like a fucking criminal. Like a jailed criminal. She was, and then like every time she would go eat lunch, she would be under watch. They would be watching what you need to eat more food so you have more protein. They're literally watching every step of her day for like a month. Her and her friend Desiree at the time. Anyways, there was so much. It was just like, and what shocked me is that she had no idea why she was being sec checked. So when we say, oh, Jenna got so much, she had so much, she was no. Yeah, maybe she was allowed at certain Christmas parties and things like bullshit like that. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. You're definitely getting fucked just as much as you're getting rewarded, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
Right, Jeff, when you say, especially with your experience?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, my God. Okay. Purple Groovy says, question, did LRH have a policy for cruising like a sailor?
Cursing.
Cursing. I said cruising.
Everyone in Scientology swears.
It was not a policy. We just followed L. Ron Hubbard's examples, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess if the Sea Org was built on a wannabe sailor military kind of vessel, maybe cursing like a sailor is a normal thing out in sea. You're in the middle of nowhere, so you don't have to watch your mouth, so to speak, right? Yeah, I guess that's what we were. Question, do any of your relatives have photos that they could give you of you and your family, etc.? Love Sherlock. Sweetie, the relatives that are my family that would have this are Sea Org members or Scientologists. The only other photos of me that non-Scientology family relatives have are PR photos that we sent to them. So no, they wouldn't just, I mean, that would be interesting if they randomly, I don't know. Love Sherlock. I would hope. If they do, please contact me because none of them have been contacting me. None of my non-Scientologist family that still want to be in contact with my mother are not contacting me. It's kind of shitty. Just a little bit shitty. All right, on that lovely note, just kidding. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I can't read all your guys' beautiful, comments, but we love you and we're glad you're here, Jeff. You just gave me the goosebumps, basically. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to just say one more thing before, oh my God. Yes, exactly. This is a cute one. Oh, so you are not the enemy. You are just being used by the enemy. Remember that. Please come out here. We don't need to deal with any of this. Okay, one last thing before we go. I want to remind people, if you're in Los Angeles or if you're anywhere and you're part of the SBTV community, on Thursday, there's going to be a protest right at Big Blue, the Scientology organization. On the 28th, I believe, from 12 o'clock to 2, but you can get there earlier and you can stay there later. That's just the main chunk of the time of the protest. And you can go there and protest anything. Anything that's about Scientology's crimes. Where's Shelly? Where is my mom? Where's my dad? Stop abusing the elderly. Take care of your Sea Org members. Whatever things you want to do. If you're in the LA area, go do that. Be a part of that. I'm gonna try to get off work. We'll see if that happens. If not, I'm gonna have somebody there definitely live streaming or doing something for me that will be there. And if you can't be there physically, you can do something on your own streams or on your live that are supporting the LA protest.
Yes. And I was just going to say in 10 minutes or 7 p.m. Eastern time, I see that Mike is going to do a video. Mike Rinder's going to do a video on elder abuse. And this is one of the things being protested right now. So that's going to be an important one to see. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. So go to that. That's freaking awesome. Thank you all so much. We're going to do another one soon, Jeffy. Thank you so much for being here. Amy, thank you, of course, so much for being here. I do need both of your addresses because I want to send you my CD and I also want to send you my sticker packs and stuff like that.
Good.
So Jeffy, look at me. I'm already hooked. He's gonna be like, stop calling me Jeffy.
And you can send me your address and I'll send you my book.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you. That will be amazing. Okay, so on the next episode, we're going to be talking more about Int Ranch parents, cadets, and who knows, if you're listening under the radar, we might just be talking about you and your family. So keep listening, keep watching. We appreciate you, even if you can't speak out and say who you are at the moment. We appreciate you. We love that you're listening because that's always the first steps. And again, thank you, Jeff, for being here.
Glad to be here. Yeah.
We're going to all roll over to Mike's channel and watch what he has about elderly abuse. Thank you again freaking so much. On the next episode, we're going to be talking about what the heck were these we broke the sound barrier sweaters. Do you remember that? We broke the sound barrier. At Gold Base, there were these we broke the sound barrier sweaters. And maybe you guys already were... No,
I think it was Storm. I think it was
Stormbusters.
Stormbusters, and
but
it was
on
because
the back
of the...
it said we broke the sound barrier, or something.
Yeah.
There was something, and it showed rain, and it showed.
It was because of the storm. It was the Stormbusters. It was because of the storm.
Okay. Anyways, Gold Base store, but there's so much more to talk about. That's just one note. Somebody asked, "Why was your dad wearing a Stormbusters sweater in one of my photos?" And I was like,
I saw that.
I'll save that for Amy and Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. We have so much more. We'll see you soon on 16B with Jeff and Amy, and hopefully Mike, hopefully more people, but hopefully Jackson on the next one, because that would just be a combo quad trifecta. Love you all. Thank you so much. If you put in a last question, they did. But we'll answer them on the next one. We love you so much. Thank you again, Amy and Jeff. See you soon. And Jeffrey, you guys send me your addresses and all that. We love you. Thank you, SBTV. Click the like button and subscribe to both of the channels here, Amy and Jeff. Jeff's doesn't have, but CODIS, Amy, Scobee. We'll see you soon. We love you all. Thank you for being supportive.
Bye.
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 Somebody is searching for the right child. Somebody is telling you what's right. Now you're going to have to decide what you're gonna do the next step you take in life.